Chapter 180. Mo, how sure? Why are you following us? Jean Tianpeng looked at Mo, how sure with a puzzled expression. This old man has business to discuss with you. Mo, how sure said. Business? Tell me about it. Jean Tianpeng said. Mo, how sure didn't say anything. He took out a boat core and handed it to Jean Tianpeng. This is... Jean Tianpeng was puzzled. I carved the core of the boat. Mo, how sure said. What? You. Jean Tianpeng examined the boat core, his eyes flickering with uncertainty. Although the core in his hand had not been activated, it was still extraordinary. Once this thing was activated, it would be a top-notch existence even on the mother planet, although it was far inferior to the young master's engraved boat core. However, if the young master took out those boat cores, every one of them would definitely set off a bloodbath. Without absolute strength, one could not easily take them out. Mo, how sure's boat cores could act as a buffer. Jean Tianpeng nodded to himself. Tell me, how do we cooperate? Jean Tianpeng said. Very simple. 10,000 immortal crystals for one. Mo, how sure stretched out a finger and said lightly. You robbed. The young master only sold it for 1,000. Elder Fong pointed at Mo, how sure with a face full of anger. Hee. Young master is only selling it for 1,000. So you're saying that the core of Gongzi's boat is only worth 1,000? You guys scam the young master like this. When the young master finds out one day, what do you think the consequences will be? Mo, how sure said. Cold sweat broke out on Elder Fong's forehead when he heard this. We have no intention of swindling you, young master. Every single one of your boat cores is too unimaginable. If you take them out, it will definitely set off a reign of terror. Even if it's the stargazing tower, I'm afraid they won't be able to protect it. At that time, when the 10,000 races attack, they will definitely break the young master's Tao heart. We bought young master's boat core, but we have no intention of selling it for the time being. After we have absolute strength, we will auction it. At that time, 90% of the cost will belong to young master. Jean Tianpeng said. Hearing this, Mo, how sure was slightly startled. At least you have some conscience. Tell me, do you still want to do business or not? Do it. However, I don't have any immortal crystals on me right now. Jean Tianpeng said. What? No. Mo, how sure's forehead turned black. You are the dignified young master of the stargazing tower. How could you not have immortal crystals? Master Mo, don't worry. In less than half a month, a batch of fairy crystals will arrive. At that time, we can talk business again. What do you think? Jean Tianpeng said. No problem. I have some matters to attend to, so I'll be leaving first. Remember to contact me when you're done. Finished speaking, Mo, how sure threw a communication jade slip to Jean Tianpeng. Then, he summoned his flying boat and soared into the sky. Buzz, the flying boat took off, leaving behind a cloud of white clouds before disappearing. Looking at the back of the flying boat, Jean Tianpeng nodded to himself. Young master, it's only been a few days, but the stubborn old man has grown to such an extent. This is completely comparable to the top immortal array masters on the mother planet. He's even better than them. Elder Fong said. That's right. Although Mo, how sure is stubborn, his willpower towards the Tao of formations is something that ordinary people can't compare to. Not to mention, after staying by the young master's side for so long, her talent has improved. It would be strange if she didn't become a monster. That's even better. We have a buffer. Let's go. After saying that, Mo, how sure summoned his flying boat. The three of them flew up and set up a flying ship, heading northeast. Young master, are we going to northern region? Elder Fong asked. Not bad. Jean Tianpeng nodded. Young master needs immortal iron. We must help young master obtain it. Young master, are you going to keep the 5-spirit immortal metal and give it to the young master? Elder Fong asked. Not bad. Speaking of this, Jean Tianpeng sighed. Young master didn't complete the mission before, and I feel guilty. This matter, no matter what, I must complete it. Yes, young master. The two elders nodded in unison. Sun Hao's residence, carving room. Su Yiling looked at the carvings one by one, and for a while, she fell into a dilemma. Master said that something happened in the northern region, so young Master asked me to choose a statue. There must be some sort of instruction. According to Master, young Master frowned deeply that day. He must be extremely worried. What was about to happen was unimaginable. From the looks of it, Alliance leader Chun hasn't figured it out yet. Otherwise, young Master wouldn't have called me over. Now, the key lies with me. If he didn't make the right choice, perhaps, the more she thought, the more flustered she became. Master, if you were me, which one would you choose? Su Yiling's face was full of bitterness. Don't be greedy, don't be greedy. Su Yiling muttered words in her mouth, widened her eyes, and glanced around. After glancing twice, suddenly, Su Yiling raised her eyebrows, walked to a statue, and picked up a broken arm on the ground. This should be the least valuable. Young Master deliberately put it here, presumably to let me choose it. Absolutely right. I didn't expect that I would become smart one day. Su Yiling took this arm and walked to Sun Hao. Young Master, can I choose this? Seeing this arm, Sun Hao's expression stagnated. This group of cultivators was really strange. Forget about the good statue. She didn't even want the broken statue. He deliberately broke a few pieces and hid them inside, but she didn't choose. Instead, she chose an arm? This arm, he must have been careless and didn't clean it up, and it fell inside. Ding, blessing point plus 1,000. Hearing this, Sun Hao nodded secretly. Since there's blessing point, then choose whatever you like. Of course. Sun Hao smiled and nodded. Young Master smiled. It seems that I chose the right one. That's great, Master. I'm not stupid. Su Yiling showed a sweet smile, and her face was full of joy. Thank you, young Master. Then Yiling will go back first today. And, walking out of the courtyard door, Su Yiling turned into an afterimage and rushed down the mountain. Although she chose the right thing, she didn't know what this thing was used for. Returning to the pavilion at the foot of the mountain, Su Yiling closed the door. She put the broken arm on the table, her hands holding her cheeks, and her face was tangled. What does this mean? Master, if only you were here, how good would it be? President Chun is not here, Old One is gone, and Marshal Aunt Mu Bing is gone. Now, I'm the only one left. What should I do? By the way, aren't the 4 seniors suppressing their realms? Should I ask them for help? Su Yiling's eyes shone, and she just lifted her foot and then took it back. No, the 4 seniors are suppressing their realms. If they're disturbed by me and the suppression fails, won't they suffer immortal tribulation? No, I absolutely can't go. Su Yiling sighed secretly and sat down. Her eyes stared at the arm, and her face was tangled. Since I don't know where Master has gone, I will go directly to President Chun. He is in the northern region, and he seems to have gone to the Red Refining Sect. I will go directly to the Red Refining Sect to find him. As long as I give this to President Chun, I think with President Chin's perception, he will soon realize it. Let's do that. After speaking, Su Yiling walked out of the house. She turned into a long rainbow and went straight to the northern region. Chapter 181. Rumung, let's go. Sun Hao shouted. Young Master, wait for me to wash the dishes. Huang Rumung quickly cleaned up the table. Her movements were very swift. Rumung, there's no hurry to wash the dishes. Sun Hao walked to Huang Rumung's side and grabbed her little hand. Her slender, jade-like fingers were soft to the touch, making one reluctant to let go. Now is the time to witness a miracle. Sun Hao took out a bag of immortal crystals and waved it in front of Huang Rumung. Young Master, are you going to activate the boat core? Huang Rumung asked. That's right. From now on, this airboat belongs to us. Sun Hao looked at the flying boat and pulled Huang Rumung into the flying boat. The two of them arrived at the control center and stared at the 1-meter diameter arc core. Even though the entire immortal boat wasn't large, it took him in Missouri Hausher close to 10 days of time. If he were to rely on himself, it would probably take half a month. It was simply too time-consuming. Who knew how long it would take to build a big one? He could build his own boat. If he wanted to sell it, then forget it. He might as well sell the boat core. It seemed that there was a reason why the ferry boat was so expensive. I wonder how many immortal crystals are needed to activate it. Sun Hao put the immortal crystals on the ground, picked up the boat core, and put it into the pile of immortal crystals. Phew! The immortal crystal turned into a blue light and entered the arc core. 9 colored lights lit up one after another. After a while, buzz, there was a tremor. 9 colored light kept shining on the core of the boat. Phew! Sun Hao gently pushed the boat core into the eye of the formation. Instantly, phew! The 9 colored light on the core of the boat lit up like snakes. They turned into strands of silk and spread throughout the entire ship's protective array. Buzz, like the sound of a car engine starting, the entire flying boat trembled slightly. A barrier covered the entire flying boat. When Huang Rumung saw this, her eyes widened and her face was filled with joy. I'm afraid even a profound immortal wouldn't be able to break this grand formation. It's not an ordinary immortal boat that the young master casually made. Huang Rumung looked at Sun Hao with a face full of worship. Sun Hao looked at the bag of immortal crystals and felt a heartache. Only half of it remained. It took more than 25,000 immortal crystals to activate. This consumption was too great. He wondered how much energy it would take to activate it at full power. Thinking like this, Sun Hao's mind moved and sank his mind into the immortal boat. Instantly, phew, his mind jolted. Immediately afterward, a figure appeared in Sun Hao's mind. This figure was like an adorable animal. It looked a little strange, and he had never seen it before. It was staring at her foolishly. "Hello, master." This sound stunned Sun Hao. "You are..." Sun Hao's heart moved. The dazed fellow immediately said, "Master, I don't have a name yet. I'm an artifact spirit that you created." "What? I created it? When did I become so powerful?" He could even create an artifact spirit. So I'm actually this powerful. Sun Hao was shocked, and it took a long time for him to calm down. "Are you the spirit of the flying boat?" Sun Hao asked. "Yes, master. From today on, let's call him Chi Lei." Sun Hao said, "Thank you for giving me a name, master." The artifact spirit looked adorable, and Sun Hao couldn't wait to give it a few strokes. "Chi Lei, then you introduce your role." Sun Hao said, "Master, my role is to control the entire immortal boat. As long as you think about it, I can go in and operate it. Where do you want to go? You just need to order it with your mind." Chi Lei said. Hearing this, Sun Hao nodded secretly. In this case, it would be much less worrisome. He only needed to lie there, eat delicious food, and chat with beauties. That life was simply too comfortable. "So, can I perform space jump?" Sun Hao asked. Of course, this is the most basic function. In addition to space jump, there is also shadow splitting perplexing step. Chi Lei said, "What is shadow splitting perplexing step?" Sun Hao looked puzzled. "Master, shadow splitting perplexing step is to let the immortal boat produce a clone to confuse the opponent." Chi Lei said. Hearing this, Sun Hao was shocked. A flying boat actually had this ability. It was simply too powerful. "Master, but these abilities all require immortal crystals." "Master, the current energy is less than 2%. Please charge as soon as possible. If the energy is exhausted, I will fall into a deep sleep, and I need a huge amount of energy to wake me up again." At this time, Chi Lei's face showed a touch of worry. "It needs immortal crystals, right?" "Yes, that's fine." Sun Hao took out 100 immortal crystals and sent them into the boat core. "Master, the charging is complete. The current energy is 3%. "What? 100 immortal crystals is only 1%. Sun Hao's face was painful. He took out 10,000 immortal crystals and filled the energy. Looking at the remaining 15,000 immortal crystals, he sighed softly. "Tell me how much energy I can consume." Sun Hao said, "Master, every 1% energy can be used at full power consumption for a month. Full power consumption is equivalent to the full flying speed of a celestial immortal. The shield can withstand all the attacks of a celestial immortal. Space jump, depending on the energy consumption, the distance varies, and the furthest can be jumped is 10 million kilometers." When Sun Hao heard the words 10 million kilometers, he suddenly froze in place. This distance could not be imagined at all. He didn't expect the immortal boat he built to be strong to this extent. Amazing. In the future, when riding the immortal boat, even if he encountered any celestial immortal, he didn't have to be afraid of him. However, how strong was a celestial immortal? He had no idea at all. Find a chance to ask Rumung. She should know. Take off. Sun Hao's mind moved. Buzz. The flying boat left the ground and began to pull up quickly. In the blink of an eye, it stopped at an altitude of 10,000 meters. Present the surrounding scenery in my mind. This idea had just taken shape. Sun Hao seemed to have billions of eyes sweeping around. Looking at the scenery around him, the corners of Sun Hao's mouth rose. Fly at full speed. Sun Hao looked to the north, and his mind moved. Buzz. The scenery in all directions receded rapidly. In only a quarter of an hour, they came to the sky above the Blood Phoenix nest. Stop! Sun Hao hurriedly stopped, his face full of shock. The speed of the immortal boat was so terrifying. Thousands of kilometers only took a quarter of an hour? This was too terrifying. Thinking back to when Rumung flew him over, it took more than a day. West Prefecture Immortal City seemed to be more than 20,000 kilometers away from his residence. It would take 2 days to fly by purple lightning. If he used Scarlet Thunder, it would only take an hour. The speed was dozens of times faster. In other words, the speed reached more than 10,000 kilometers per hour. Hiss! Sun Hao took a breath of cold air. Compared with this, the plane in his previous life was weak. Try the space jump first. Sun Hao looked at the full energy value and couldn't help nodding secretly. Got it, Master. Where do you want to jump? Scarlet Thunder's voice sounded in his mind. Where do I jump to? Sun Hao thought secretly, and then the corner of his mouth raised. Direction, east, position unlimited, consume 10% energy for space jump. Yes, Master. Chapter 182. Buzz the immortal boat buzzed. Layers of transparent ripples appeared around the ferry boat. The air was distorted as if a heat wave was stirred up. Phew! In the blink of an eye, the immortal boat disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already in another place. Here, the weather was gloomy, without a single ray of sunlight. The air was filled with a rancid smell. If one didn't smell it carefully, they wouldn't be able to detect it. Sun Hao looked around through the immortal boat and couldn't help but frown. Where's this place? How could there be such a place in the Tianluo continent? Could it be that he had jumped out of the Tianluo continent and arrived at another continent? Thinking of this, Sun Hao's scalp was numb. Although he was not an immortal cultivator, he had read many books and heard many legends. Some continents were completely different from the Tianluo continent. It was like a continent with only death energy and no vitality. This kind of continent was only suitable for the ghost race or the undead race to live in. There were also some continents with towering, baleful auras that were only suitable for evil devils to live in. Humans entering this continent was like fish leaving the water. Death was only a matter of time. What's wrong, young master? Huang Ruming gently held Sun Hao's right hand and asked worriedly. Ru Meng, it seems that we jumped to another continent. Sun Hao said, Another continent? Young master, let me see. Huang Ruming said, All right. Sun Hao's thoughts moved, and the surrounding scenery went straight into Huang Ruming's mind. Huang Ruming's pupils constricted, her face showed great shock, and her body involuntarily trembled. Young master, this is a forbidden area. Run. Huang Ruming's voice trembled as an indescribable fear surged through her entire body. Sensing Huang Ruming's performance, Sun Hao was shocked. Even Ru Meng was afraid to such an extent. If he were to face her, he would definitely die. Activate spatial jump. Destination, Tianluo Continent's Great Demon Mountain. Without any hesitation, Sun Hao opened the space jump. Master, wait a moment. Buzz. The ferry boat began to gather energy, and layers of energy waves surged in all directions. Phew! However, the space jump that had just started was immediately extinguished. Not good, Master. There's an unknown existence devouring the energy. Jumping through space requires double the energy. Please confirm if you want to activate it. Current energy level 89%, 88%, Hearing these heart-wrenching words, Sun Hao did not hesitate and directly confirmed. Buzz! The immortal boat began to gather energy again. Waves of chi rippled out from the flying ship. Just as he was about to make the jump, he realized that he had succeeded. At this moment, howl! A roar shook the heavens and earth. A gust of wind struck the immortal boat like a flying knife. Ding! It crashed into the shield, producing a metallic clang. The ripples caused by the spatial jump completely disappeared. The space jump this time failed, before Sun Hao could react. At this moment, boom! Boom! A series of explosions shook the entire place, causing the entire place to tremble. Sun Hao looked into the distance through the immortal boat, and his scalp exploded. Two giant mountains were moving. No, it should be said that it was two gigantic feet that were like pillars of the heavens that were running towards him step by step. What kind of monster is this? I can't even see it clearly. Because its body was really too tall, even the immortal boat could only be under its feet. The immortal boat was 1,000 meters above the ground. If that was the case, it would be better. Every time the monster took a step, the ground would crack. Rocks and dust sputtered, reaching a height of 1,000 meters. The terrifying shockwave was like a meteor falling to the ground. It could topple mountains and overturn seas and destroy the heavens and earth. At present, there's still 54%, 53%. Hearing these sounds, Sun Hao's heart beat violently. Red Lei, is there any way to solve it? Sun Hao asked. Master, there's only one way, and that is to use shadow splitting footprints. Counting the energy used for the spatial jump, plus accidents, at present, at least 80% energy is needed. Please charge it as soon as possible. Hearing this, Sun Hao did not hesitate to take out all the immortal crystals and put them on the boat core. 60%, 59%, 62%, 61%. The number was constantly changing. Fortunately, it was increasing. Quick, hurry up! Sun Hao kept shouting his heart. Boom! Boom! The tremor was getting louder and louder. The terrifying monster was getting closer and closer. Sun Hao's heart beat violently, as if it was about to jump out of his throat. Suddenly, Sun Hao's heart tightened, and beads of sweat rolled down his forehead. He saw the dark clouds in the sky press down and rush straight to the immortal boat. Chirp! In the dark clouds, the birds kept crying. A strange bird bigger than a man, overwhelming the sky and the earth, rushed to the flying boat. The dim surroundings instantly darkened. He couldn't see his fingers in front of him, and he couldn't see everything around him at all. Ding! Like hundreds of millions of flying birds hitting the glass, the entire immortal boat was trembling constantly. The great array seemed to be about to collapse at any time. Boom! Boom! The sound of the monster trampling on the ground was getting closer and closer. The monster shrouded him, and he couldn't see anything around him at all. It was as if his eyes were covered. No wonder he was so scared like a dream. Quick! Sun Hao let out a hysterical cry in his heart. Finally, the boat core seemed to hear his call, and at this moment, it was fully charged. Buzz! On the immortal boat, a dazzling light lit up. The surrounding darkness disappeared instantly. Those strange birds, soaring into the sky, disappeared completely in the blink of an eye. Around the immortal boat, layers of ripples shook. The entire immortal boat disappeared in place. When it appeared again, it had returned to the south of the great demon mountain. Sun Hao looked at the long-lost sunshine and breathed a long sigh of relief. It was just a few breaths, but it felt like hundreds of millions of years. It was too uncomfortable. That place was too dangerous, too terrible. This world was extremely dangerous, and it was better not to wander around. Fortunately, he escaped at the very last moment. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. In the future, this space jump must not be done randomly. Sun Hao thought secretly, calming his mood. He turned his head to look at Huang Roman, but he saw Huang Roman was sweating all over, and her hair seemed to have just been washed. She grabbed Sun Hao's arm with both hands. Her body was soft, and she fell directly into Sun Hao's arms. We actually survived? It's incredible. Young master. Huang Rumeng threw herself into Sun Hao's arms and cried. She hugged him tightly with both hands. Young master, I thought we would die inside. Rumeng hasn't repaid young master yet. I can't die like this. Young master, it's all because Rumeng is too weak to protect you. Huang Rumeng's tears flowed down. Sun Hao patted her back. It's okay, Rumeng. It's all my fault. I couldn't control the flying boat well. In the future, I will not wander around. Sun Hao said, Young master, I don't blame you. After Sun Hao comforted her, Huang Rumeng gradually calmed down. She looked at Sun Hao with admiration. There seemed to be no such record of being able to come out of the forbidden place alive. In this world, except for the young master, there was no one else. By the way, there was herself. Young master, what kind of existence are you? Even in the forbidden place, you can come out unscathed. The more she looked, the greater the admiration in Huang Rumeng's eyes. Rumeng, can you tell me about this forbidden place? Sun Hao asked. Huang Rumeng let go of Sun Hao and looked around with a vigilant face. Young master, the forbidden place is 10,000 times more terrifying than the life forbidden zone. It is said that every life planet has a forbidden place. No one who enters it has ever come out, even if it is the immortal emperor. That won't do. It can be said that it is the forbidden zone of the immortal emperor. Hearing this, Sun Hao frowned, his face full of fear. Immortal Emperor, just listening to this title, it was extremely awesome. Even the immortal emperor couldn't come out of the place, but he actually came out alive. This was really incredible. Could it be that he was a supreme expert, more powerful than the immortal emperor? He could blow out the immortal emperor in one breath? Bah, it was better to have this kind of idea. In case one day, he didn't know how he died. Hiding was the king's way. Chapter 183. Rumeng, what realm are you in now? Sun Hao held Huang Rumeng's hand and asked. Yellow Immortal. Huang Rumeng said. Yellow Immortal? What realm is this? I have never heard of it at all. Could it be that Rumeng is already an immortal? What is the difference between Yellow Immortal and Immortal? Sun Hao looked puzzled. Young master, immortals are divided into 4 realms. Originally, I am the Tao Ancestor. Chapter 183, Looking for the Immortal Source. Please wait a moment. After the content is updated, please refresh the page again to get the latest updates. Chapter 184. At the entrance of the Fong family's mine. Brother Fong, since you and I are cooperating, then I will be responsible for the safety. Chai Shijin gave a glance, and nearly 10,000 disciples stood at the entrance of the mine, 3 layers inside and 3 layers outside, surrounding the mine. Listen, don't even let a mosquito in. Do you understand? Chai Shijin said. Yes, Patriarch. The disciples cupped their fists and saluted. Fong Zhao's chest stagnated, and his joints exploded. Brother Fong, let's go. Take me inside to see. Chai Shijin hugged Fong Zhao's shoulder and said, Brother Chai, it's too dangerous inside. Just the 2 of us will go in. Fong Zhao said, It's okay. Danger requires more people. Let's go. Regardless of whether Fong Zhao was willing or not, Chai Shijin led him inside. The half-immortals, elders, and elite disciples of the other families followed in, at least 10,000 people. Damn it! Seeing this scene, Fong Xiaoxiao's face was full of unwillingness. All of you follow me. Fong Xiaoxiao waved her right hand. She led a group of elders and family elites to follow closely. These people also numbered 10,000, no less than the Chai family. Entering the mine, a faint light came from the front of the mine. It was just enough for everyone to see the surroundings clearly. Along the way, not to mention danger, they didn't even see a demon beast. Inside the mine, it was abnormally quiet. Only the sound of everyone's footsteps could be heard. Brother Fong, is this the danger you were talking about? Chai Shijin smiled and hugged Fong Zhao's shoulder tightly. Impossible. When we came in, we killed a lot of demon beasts. Fong Zhao said. So the demon beasts were all killed by Brother Fong. Their voices echoed faintly in the mine. A few hours later, everyone stood dumbfounded, looking ahead, full of disbelief. Even Fong Zhao was slightly stunned. Oh my God, so many immortal gold. All of them are 5-spirit immortal gold. We're rich, we're rich. Great, so many, at least tens of millions of immortal crystals. I think it's definitely more than that. This time, the Fong family is going to rise. Everyone couldn't help but walk inside. They saw that in front of them, there was an incomparably huge karst cave, hundreds of square kilometers, full of people. On the ground, the 5-colored light flowed continuously. Pieces of 5-spirit immortal gold appeared on the ground one after another, releasing a strange light that attracted everyone's attention. Ah! Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream sounded. A man fell to the ground, spurting out blood. A long sword pierced through his back and out his chest. After the man twitched a few times, he stopped moving. The one who attacked was an elder of the Chai family, and the one who died was an elder of the Fong family. Such a scene caused the Fong clan disciples to stand rooted to the ground. Before they could react, dozens of screams rang out again. Dozens of Fong clan disciples were killed. Chai Shijin, what do you want? Fong Xiao roared as he struggled free. He pointed at Chai Shijin and roared. What do you think? Chai Shijin showed an indifferent expression. We agreed on a 60-40 split. Are you going back on your word? Fong Xiao roared. He split? Only you could believe these words. Kill for me. Don't let any of them go. Chai Shijin waved his hand. More than 20,000 disciples of the Chai family attacked at the same time. These disciples were the elites of the elites. With a wave of their hands, they could kill the Fong clan disciples. It looked like a massacre. Ha! Fong Xiao laughed and pointed at Chai Shijin. Shijin, do you think I'm not prepared? Since you want to kill them all, then don't blame me for being ruthless. Come out, Blood Iron Warriors! Fong Xiao roared. With this roar, many of the Chai family disciples were stunned, their faces full of fear. Even Chai Shijin's expression changed slightly as he carefully looked around. However, after waiting for a long time, there was no movement. Impossible. I clearly have 10,000 Blood Iron Warriors. Fong Xiao kept shaking his head, his face full of disbelief. On his face, there was a sense of uneasiness. I thought you had some shocking methods, so it was just a bluff. Looks like I don't need to keep you. After saying that, Chai Shijin moved like lightning and appeared in front of Fong Xiao, raising his hand to strike. Wait, don't. Fong Xiao's face changed as he quickly waved his hand. However, it was too late. Chai Shijin's fist directly hit his heart. Boom! Fong Xiao's body flew backward and slammed into the stone wall. He struggled to get up and pointed at Chai Shijin. He didn't finish his words. Puff! Blood spurted out. After struggling a few times, Fong Xiao fainted. Father! Fong Xiao's face changed. She pulled out her long sword and pounced on Chai Shijin. Chai Shijin, you old man, go to hell. Fong Xiao roared. Humph! Overestimating yourself. Chai Shijin waved his hand lightly, and a stream of air instantly attacked Fong Xiao. Boom! The shield on Fong Xiao's body cracked. Her body flew backward and slammed into the stone wall. After struggling a few times, she couldn't stand up. Her head tilted and she fainted. Around, screams constantly sounded. One by one, the Fong family disciples kept falling to the ground. Soon after, more than 10,000 Fong family disciples all fell to the ground and died on the spot. Blood flowed everywhere, slowly sinking into the ground and disappearing. Ha! Chai Shijin let out a hearty laugh, looking crazy. Our Chai family is going to rise. With these immortal gold, what Xinyuan family, what Mu family, it's just a joke. We don't have to stay in Tianluo continent anymore. We can go to Penglai. Everyone, what do you say? Chai Shijin roared. Good. Their voices boomed in unison, causing the entire cave to buzz and tremble. It took a long time for everyone to calm down. Patriarch, look. At this time, a sound rang out, attracting everyone's attention. Following the direction of this person's finger, Chai Shijin squinted his eyes and couldn't help but shrink his pupils. He saw that the corpses were pale, as if they had been sucked dry. There was no trace of blood on the ground. Such a scene strongly stimulated Chai Shurjin's eyes, and a sense of uneasiness surged into his heart. Retreat, everyone retreat from me, Chai Shurjin roared. However, too late. Oh, a gust of wind passed. Immediately afterward, red smoke rose from the ground. The red smoke was like blood, shielding everything. Ah, screams rang out from within the red smoke. Even Chai Shurjin was no exception. He hugged his head and screamed shrilly. The screams lasted for half a quarter of an hour. When the screams stopped, the red smoke gradually sank to the ground and disappeared. What the red smoke took away was not only the screams of the people, but also their bones. The ground was not stained with any dust. Everything just now was like a dream. What was left on the ground was only a colorful 5-spirit immortal gold. Chapter 185. There was a mine called the Abundant Origin Mine. It was not only a stone gambling den, but also the largest transfer station for ores in the Tianluo continent. All the ores mined in the entire northern region would be sent here. The crowd surged, flowing in an endless stream. It looked like a bustling scene. There were endless shouts and cheers. In front of shop, it was surrounded by many people. Chapter 185 of So, I'm the Dao Ancestor shocked everyone. Please wait a moment. After the content is updated, please refresh the page to get the latest update. Chapter 186. An exclamation broke the silence. This sound immediately attracted a lot of people to watch. It was already crowded, but now it was still packed. Everyone squeezed their heads to look into the shop, and their eyes instantly lit up. Oh my God, it's really a celestial source. Who is that young master? His luck is heaven-defying. This is too unbelievable. Master Lu said that there would be a celestial source today. So, I am the Dao Ancestor, Chapter 186. Flawless. Unimaginable. Please wait for a moment. After the content is updated, please refresh the page to get the latest update. Chapter 187. Sunhao glanced at the flying boat's energy slot and couldn't help but shake his head slightly. After a busy day and looking through all the source stones in all the shops, he could only charge Scarlet Thunder by 10%. He could only wait for the next batch of source stones to arrive and continue to identify it himself. At this rate, it would take at least 10 days. Rumung, we may have to stay here for half a month. Let's stay in. Sunhao said. So, I am the Dao Ancestor. Chapter 187 Source Heavenly Book. Please wait a moment. After the content is updated, please refresh the page again to get the latest update. Chapter 188. What's going on? Since the Chai family arrived, this Fong family head hasn't been seen for a few days. You still don't know about this. The Fong family dug out immortal crystals. As soon as these words came out, wow, a group of eyes swept over. Many people stood up and gathered around. Let me tell you, I heard that the Fong family dug out 5-spirit immortal gold. So I am the Dao Ancestor, Chapter 188 with the young master support. What is there to be afraid of? Please wait a moment. After the content is updated, please refresh the page to get the latest update. Chapter 189. Nearly 10,000 men and women dressed in green clothes embroidered with the Chai family's imprint stood around with a vigilant look. Surrounding them were hundreds of thousands of immortal cultivators. They stood in 4 directions, in groups of 3 to 5, with dozens of companions. On everyone's face, there was a look of fear, not daring to go forward. Suddenly, boom, boom, an explosion. Chapter 189 of So, I am the Dao Ancestor, without the Witch Ancestor's feather. What are you? Currently in the middle of typing, please wait a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to get the latest update. Chapter 190. Mu Bing and Chun Daoming looked ahead, their faces full of caution. Behind them, the disciples of the Red Refining Sect stood all over the passage. At first glance, it was like a bunch of bright light bulbs. Cross this line, and you will reach the absolute beginning mine. There are many dangers inside, and life and death are unknown. You wait. If you want to leave now, it's still too late. So, I am the Dao Ancestor, Chapter 190 Soul Sinking Divine Wood lay out for 1,000 years. Please wait a moment. After the content is updated, please refresh the page again to get the latest updates. Chapter 191. Inside the Immortal Boat. Sun Hao looked around with the help of the Immortal Boat. It seems to be right below this area. It should be underground. Do I have to dig it down alone? Sun Hao frowned, showing a look of embarrassment. Although his own mining had reached the supreme realm, it was really too tiring to dig alone. According to the record of that divine sense, the source mine was deep underground. Chapter 191 of So, I Am the Tao Ancestor, Blood Sacrifice Heaven Array, instantly collapsed. Thank you Ziching 724 for the reward. Please wait a moment. After the content is updated, please refresh the page again to get the latest updates. Chapter 192. Elder One, why are you here? Chen Daoming looked at Wenrenshi with a puzzled face. I came with the soul-devouring bug. Wenrenshi said, it's down there. That's right. Well, let's set up a formation and catch it. Chen Daoming said. No, it's still running forward. After Wenrenshi finished speaking, he ran forward. Elder One, there's no way over there. Let's follow and see. Everyone followed Wenrenshi and ran quickly. When they came to a rock wall, everyone stopped. Did the soul-devouring bug drill through? Chen Daoming asked. Sure. Wenrenshi made a gesture of silence, lowered his head, and listened. After a while, he lowered his voice, looked at the crowd, and whispered, there seems to be something below that attracts it. It wants to hunt. Hunt. Elder One, what can attract the soul-devouring bug? What else can it be except the soul? What? Everyone was shocked, and a trace of fear appeared on their faces. What the hell is down here? Chen Daoming asked. It's probably some kind of remnant soul. Wenrenshi said, just after saying this. Buzz, the ground trembled and shook violently. Kacha! The rock wall in front of them cracked. Immediately afterward, boom! The rock wall burst open directly, like a bomb, hitting everyone. Boom! Everyone flew out like a broken kite and fell heavily to the ground. Many of the weaker ones were scarred and vomiting blood. They struggled to get up and looked up at the scene in front of them. Their pupils contracted. They saw that in front of them was an incomparably huge karst cave. In the middle of the karst cave, a statue stood in front of everyone. The size of the statue was 1 kilometer high. Below the statue, a group of cultivators fell to the ground, screaming repeatedly. At the foot of the statue, there was a piece of 5-spirit immortal gold that strongly stimulated everyone's eyes. 5-spirit immortal gold? Xiang Shurchen couldn't help but exclaim. Don't move, it's weird here. A loud shout awakened Xiang Shurchen. Chen Daoming stood up, and after looking at Wenrenshi and Mu Bing, he took the two of them and walked into the cave. His eyes swept around, not daring to be careless. Ouch, it hurts. Which bastard did this? It's not secure at all. Su Yiling struggled and cried out in pain from time to time. He glanced around and saw Chen Daoming and the others. Alliance Leader Chen? She rushed to Chen Daoming. Elder Su, why are you here? Chen Daoming and the others were also stunned. This. Su Yiling took out a broken arm of the statue and handed it to Chen Daoming. Young master sent me to deliver this. This? Chen Daoming took the broken arm and looked around with a puzzled face. What about President Luo? Chen Daoming asked. Master went to find old man Juyo. He won't be back for a while. Su Yiling said. Then what is this? Chen Daoming asked. This is when I go to young master's place. Su Yiling explained the situation of her choosing this arm. Chen Daoming held this arm and frowned secretly. Why did the young master send this arm over? Don't tell me you want me to break one of my arms? How could he better cultivate his saber Dao? That shouldn't be the case. I'm more agile with my arms. The sword immortal, losing an arm will not affect the coordination of the body. So, is it to let old one break one of his arms? Thinking like this, Chen Daoming looked at Wenrenshi, his eyes staring directly at his arm. Alliance Leader Chen, why are you looking at me like this? Wenrenshi's face was frightened. The young master asked you to break one of your arms. You can do it. As soon as these words came out, boom! It was like a thunderclap on the top of Wenrenshi's head. He stood there stupidly, full of disbelief. Alliance Leader Chen, What do you mean by this? When Runshur asked, what does the young master mean by sending a broken arm? Isn't it a sign that we have to break one of our arms? Chen Daoming said. Several people nodded in unison. However, why me? Not you, Alliance Leader Chen? When Runshur asked, it's very simple. I need to hold the knife with both hands to have strong, explosive power. If I lose an arm, there will be no progress in this life. The young master naturally knows this. And you, learning Sword Dao, holding a sword with one hand is completely enough. As for Elder Mu and Elder Su, are you willing to let them break one of their arms? Does the young master want to see their arms broken? Chen Daoming's words made Wen Renshur speechless. When Renshur took out the immortal sword, his hands trembling. Since it is the young master's request, not to mention breaking an arm, even if I break my head, I will never frown. After speaking, when Renshur picked up the long sword and looked at Chen Daoming, break that arm? Chen Daoming picked up the broken arm and looked at it, frowning slightly. This looks like the left arm. It should be your left arm. Good. The hand rose and the sword fell. Wow. Blood splashed and the arm fell to the ground. Ah. Su Yiling let out a scream and turned her head. Mu Bing also frowned slightly and didn't dare to look. When Renshur called on his immortal power to stop the injury, he didn't say a word throughout the process. The arm is broken. What should I do now? When Renshur said, look, Chen Daoming pointed to Wen Renshur's broken arm and exclaimed. Everyone narrowed their eyes and couldn't help but shrink their pupils. They saw that Wen Renshur's broken arm turned into wisps of blood chi, forming a bloodline, flying into the statue's mouth and disappearing. It is devouring blood and chi. This is not a statue. I'm afraid it is a certain demon ancestor. Chen Daoming said. What? Several people's scalps exploded, and their faces changed slightly. When Renshur was full of excitement and nodded secretly. Young master, you really have a wonderful plan, letting this old man cut off his arm just to lure out the demons. I'll do it. After speaking, when Renshur soared into the sky, picked up the immortal sword in his right hand, poured his strength into it, aimed at the statue's head, and slashed it. Buzz, the air roared, and the waves of air shook. An arc-shaped sword energy, with the momentum of tearing everything, rushed away, seeing it was about to cut off the statue's head. At this time, Buzz, the air in front of the sword energy, suddenly shook up layers of ripples. An old man in a blood-red robe, holding a long staff, emerged from the ripples. He stretched out the long staff and pointed forward. Buzz, the air vibrated, and a white light directly blasted on the sword energy. Boom! There was a loud noise. The blood-robed old man and Wen Renshur stepped straight back, and after standing, their faces were full of fear. That's the demon pharaoh. At this time, an exclamation sounded. When the cultivators below saw it, their faces changed dramatically. They hugged together and retreated one after another. They huddled in the corner, shivering. This little guy is a bit strong. Old Five, come and help this old man. The blood-robed old man shouted. Yes, third brother. An old woman in a blood-red robe appeared behind Wen Renshur. The two surrounded Wen Renshur one after the other. Everyone had not yet awakened from the shock. At this time, who, la, 3 consecutive sounds rang out. 3 figures surrounded the statue in 3 directions, coldly glancing at the crowd below. In particular, the skinny old man, whose eyes could not turn, stared directly at Su Yiling. You two, kill them and resurrect the ancestor. This old man will go meet that little baby. Yes, great pharaoh. After the two finished speaking, they waved the long staff in their hands. Chapter 193. Little demon race, tyrannical in my human race continent, deserve to die. Break for me. Chen Daoming picked up the hatchet, aimed at the skinny old man who rushed over, and slashed. At this moment, the surroundings were dim. Buzz, everyone's light seemed to be deprived. All that could be seen was the knife light in Chen Daoming's eyes. Chapter 193 of So, I Am the Dao Ancestor. The resurrection of the demon ancestor is shocking. Please wait a moment. After the content is updated, please refresh the page again to get the latest updates. Chapter 194. Huang Ruming looked at Sun Hao, and her face was full of shock. This hoe actually loosened the soul, subduing divine wood. This method was simply unimaginable. However, the soul-subduing divine wood was generally used to suppress some powerful existences. Once the soul-subduing divine wood was dug away, the powerful existence would definitely escape. At that time, I'm afraid that the people would be plunged into misery and suffering. Rumung, come and see a gem. So I am Tao Ancestor. Chapter 194. The Young Master's Method is so terrifying. Please wait a moment. After the content is updated, please refresh the page again to get the latest update. Chapter 195. Sun Hao took out a fingernail-sized crystal stone and handed it to Huang Ruming. Huang Ruming looked at the crystal stone, and her pupils shrank. The young master actually compressed the mountain-like five-spirit immortal gold to this extent. His means were unimaginable. Young master, you are so amazing. You dug up a 5-color gem as soon as you came. Huang Ruming said with a smile. That's because I am the Tao Ancestor. Chapter 195. The young master is knocking us to wake us up. Please wait a moment. After the content is updated, please refresh the page again to get the latest updates. Chapter 196. With you scapegoats, I will die without regrets. The skinny old man looked at the soul-devouring insect that pounced on the group of cultivators, his face full of pride. After eating you, then, the soul-devouring insects will sweep the entire earth. At that time, there will only be soul-devouring insects left in the whole world. Everything destroy it all. Godly cunning immortal, you. So, I am the Tao Ancestor. Chapter 196. One song to suppress everything currently playing. Please wait a moment. After the content is updated, please refresh the page again to get the latest updates. Chapter 197. That song just now had a breakthrough in his Zither Tao, reaching the greater mastery realm. In other words, his Zither Tao was already a yellow immortal. With two people playing together, the effect was several times stronger than before. At the same time, his state of mind was also improving rapidly. Now, his destruction Tao was only one step away from a peak. When that time came, he would be a Xian immortal. So, I am a Tao Ancestor. Chapter 197. This mortal is a supreme existence. Please wait for a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to receive the latest update. Chapter 198. Below the absolute beginning mind in a passage. A red-haired man walked forward like a zombie. He was Lai Shang. Child, come on, we're almost there. My strength is unparalleled in the world. When you get it, you will become the supreme ruler, and no one will be your opponent. Those who have bullied you, hurt you, and framed you will all be trampled under your feet. This kind of voice kept ringing in his ears. Soon after, he came to a tomb room and stood in front of a dark coffin. Child, come on, put your hand on it, and my strength can be passed on to you. The voice came from the coffin. Lai Shang stood in place, and his eyes recovered a trace of clarity. Why am I here? Lai Shang muttered to himself, holding his head and screaming in pain. No, Master is not like this. Why did he do this to me? In my eyes, you are my family. Lai Shang said one sentence at a time, and his voice gradually showed despair. Since there is no attachment, then such a world should not exist. Give me the strength, let me destroy it. After saying that, Lai Shang stretched out his palm and pressed it on the coffin. Strands of red bloodlines from the coffin went up into Lai Shang's body. Woo! Lai Shang was like an electric shock. His body trembled wildly, and his mouth kept foaming. The blood on his body surged, his hair danced in the wind, and his blood-red eyes stared straight ahead. His aura was rising rapidly. Boom! The rocks on the ground seemed to be unable to withstand this pressure and were cracking rapidly. After a moment, Lai Shang looked up to the sky and laughed like crazy. 1,000,000 years, 1,000,000 years. I didn't expect that Ho Ching would come back to life again. An incomparably strong resentment is really a great tonic. I have a Lai Yang Golden Crow bloodline. God is helping me. Hey, what bloodline is this? God, this is the heaven-devouring Golden Crow bloodline. Not good. These words just finished. No. A roar resounded throughout the tomb. Lai Shang half knelt on the ground, laughing and roaring. Two kinds of expressions kept changing. Finally, his face gradually calmed down. After a long while, when he opened his eyes, two rays of light shot out. Ho Qing, one of the ancestors of the demons? You're really careful to actually split your soul into two. I didn't expect you to leave so many secret treasures in this world, but all of them are mine. Lai Shang mumbled to himself. However, what you've done is far from enough. Let me conquer this world. Lai Shang's eyes were blood red, and his murderous aura soared to the sky. With a wave of his right hand, a blood sea appeared in his palm. In the blood sea, corpses floated up and down. It was incomparably terrifying. Master, wait for me. I'll come find you soon. Don't die, or else it won't be satisfying. And Huang Rumeng, since you dare to kill my father, then I will kill your entire family. After saying that, Lai Shang's figure flashed and disappeared. Not long after he disappeared, a figure appeared in the tomb chamber like a ghost. This figure was covered in green hair from head to toe. That strange face was like a demon king from hell. No one dared to look at it directly. It looked in the direction where Lai Shang disappeared and took a step forward. Boom! A sound rang out. The green-haired monster's body flew backward and bounced back heavily, as if some kind of restriction restricted its movements. Howl! The green-haired monster let out an unwilling roar, and the entire tomb chamber collapsed into dust inch by inch. After a while, a gust of wind passed. The monster's figure gradually dissipated and disappeared without a trace. In the north of Tianluo continent, across an ocean, there was a barren continent called the Heavenly Demon Continent. On the continent, there was no grass growing and no rain falling. In the sky, there was a blood-colored mist all year round, blocking the sun. The entire continent was set off by the blood mist into a red color. In the center of the continent, 100-meter-high blood-colored hall stood proudly between heaven and earth. In the hall, a 5-meter-tall man with a pair of blood-red wings sat in the hall, looking like he was cultivating with his eyes closed. On his body, the aura of blood kept whistling. He was the lord of the demon race, Blood Knight. Suddenly, Blood Knight opened his eyes, stretched out his right claw, and clenched it gently. The aura of blood all went into his body. Buzz! The claw gently grasped forward, the air shook up layers of ripples, and a communication jade slip was taken out. When he opened it, Blood Knight looked shocked. He saw that on the jade slip, an old man emerged. This person's appearance was exactly the same as Ujizi. My lord, he is the godly cunning immortal, who ruined my clan's major event, must be eradicated. The old man muttered to himself and kept repeating this sentence. Blood Knight looked at this phantom, and in his eyes, two red lights burst out. Boom! The jade slip shattered, and the phantom dissipated. Godly cunning immortal? It's you who ruined this seat's good thing again. If I don't get rid of you, it will be difficult to resolve the hatred in my heart. This seat would like to see what kind of sacred being you are. Blood Knight put away his anger, looked ahead, and said, High Priest, here. The air shook up layers of ripples. An old man appeared in front of Blood Knight and knelt down. My lord, what are your orders? How was the last time I deduced the godly, cunning immortal? Blood Knight asked. Reporting to the Lord, there's a mysterious aura shrouding the godly, cunning immortal, unable to deduce everything about him. The high priest said, What? Blood Knight frowned secretly. Is there no other way? Reporting to the Lord, unless the sky gazing array is opened, this mysterious aura can be broken. The high priest said, Sky gazing array? Blood Knight frowned slightly, revealing a thoughtful look. A moment later, he opened his eyes and two ominous lights burst out. That's fine. Immediately open the sky gazing array. What? The high priest looked stunned, thinking that he had heard wrong. What? Didn't you hear this seat's words? Blood Knight's voice was cold. Yes, my lord. The high priest's figure flashed and disappeared in place. When he appeared again, the high priest came to a pavilion. He picked up the long staff in his hand and waved it gently. All priests listened to the order. Immediately come to the sky, gazing altar to gather. His voice was clearly transmitted to the ears of every priest through a secret method. At this moment, the priests within 100 miles heard the voice of the high priest clearly. Soon after, on the north side of the main hall, around a huge altar, it was full of armored guards with surging auras. Each of them had the strength of a 10-step half-immortal. The person at the head even had the power of an immortal. The body exuded a pressure that made people dare not approach. In front of the altar, on the main seat, Blood Knight sat there. Even sitting, he was 3 meters tall like a giant. He looked at the high priest standing in front of him and nodded slightly. Yes, my lord. The high priest bowed and retreated, walking straight to the altar. Chapter 199. At the top of the altar, there was a square. On it, it was engraved with dense array patterns. Under the command of the high priest, 108 priests stood in all directions. Start. The high priest stood in the middle and let out a light shout. 108 high priestesses circled around the great priestess. At the same time, his hands were pinched and his mouth was chanting. In the wind and rain at night, in the house, in the bed, a series of incomprehensible voices sounded. As the sound grew louder and louder, the blood-colored light enveloped the chest of each priest. Like a group of fireflies, it drifted with their bodies. Above the blood-colored light, there were strands of red threads. They intertwined with each other to form a blood thread, flying toward the high priest like a spirit snake. Finally, it drilled into the high priest's body. The high priestess looked like a puppet that was being pulled by strings. As time passed, the blood on the high priest's body was getting thicker and thicker. He looked like a blood man. Suddenly, roar! The high priest roared toward the sky, his voice like thunder, shaking out. As his voice sounded, a terrifying aura spewed out from his mouth and rushed straight to the sky. From a distance, it looked like a gushing blood spring. In the sky, the blood mist seemed to be driven, spinning with this aura. The blood mist was getting thicker and thicker, as thick as blood. The blood-colored lightning kept surging in the blood mist, making a sizzling sound. Rumble, the dull thunder, as if to crush the sky, blasted down. On the ground, the array patterns lit up with a dazzling red light, illuminating the entire earth. Open for me. The high priest let out a roar, pouring all the aura in his body into the sky. Boom! The sky trembled, and the aura fell like silk threads. The bloodlines quickly piled up, forming an illusory figure in midair. This person's facial features were blurred, and his breath was unstable. Appear for me. The high priest let out another roar, frantically squeezing the power in his body and pouring it into the great array. In midair, the illusory figure became more and more solid, and his breath became more and more stable. Seeing that the illusory figure was about to take shape. At this time, buzz, the illusory figure opened his eyes. Immediately, the world trembled. Time froze. Space stood still. The demon generals felt as if their bodies had been shackled and their minds were shaken. At this moment, everyone's 5 senses were seized, and their 6 senses were sealed. They were unable to sense anything around them. Even his divine sense was suppressed by some kind of terrifying power, unable to be released. After a long while, this feeling gradually dissipated. When they opened their eyes to take a look, the demon generals were rooted to the spot, their faces filled with disbelief. The illusory figure in the sky had already disappeared, and the blood mist had dissipated. The grand array on the altar square immediately crumbled into pieces. Amidst the fragments, the bodies of the 108 high priests were distorted beyond recognition. His miserable appearance made one unable to look straight at him. Even High Priest was covered in cuts and bruises. It was a tragic sight, and he was on the verge of death. This, Shui's pupils constricted, and his expression changed drastically. Blood qi surged in his body. His figure flashed and instantly disappeared from his seat. When he reappeared, he was already beside the high priestess. "High priest, how are you?" Shui supported the high priest and asked. The high priest opened his eyes with difficulty and looked at Blood Knight with fear written all over his face. My lord, the sky gazing array is no longer able to deduce the godly cunning immortal. The godly cunning immortal, he is growing. Now he has reached an extremely terrifying realm. My lord, the godly cunning immortal must be eradicated with all our might. Otherwise, our clan will be in danger. After saying this, puff, the high priest spat out a mouthful of blood toward the sky, and the last bit of blood qi in his body dissipated. His head tilted, and there was no movement. No, Shui roared toward the sky, as if he was crazy. The kind of grief and indignation covered the entire sky. Many times he has ruined my big event. The godly cunning immortal must die. Shui secretly clenched his fists, his face full of anger. After a long time, he withdrew his anger and looked at the generals in front of him. Tian Sha, Shui shouted. My lord here. A man in a blood-colored robe knelt in front of Shui. Han Sha is doing great things in the southern region. Just in case, you take a few people and immediately go to support. Even if you fail, you must get back the blood essence, do you understand? Shui said. Yes, my lord. After speaking, the figure of Tian Sha gradually dissipated. Shui looked at the remaining 5 generals and said, This is the godly cunning immortal. Now in the northern region of the Tianluo continent, you all come with me to destroy him. Shui waved his right hand, and a phantom image condensed and formed. This phantom's aura and appearance were exactly the same as Ujizi. Yes, the 5 demon generals clasped their fists together. Shui waved his right hand, and a portal appeared in front of them. Go! Shui disappeared with the 5 demon generals. Somewhere in the sky of the northern region of the Tianluo continent, a phantom image drifted erratically, merging with the air, making it impossible to see the figure clearly. This person was none other than Ujizi. The corners of his mouth raised a smile, and the complacency was very obvious. This time, coming to the Tianluo continent was really the right choice. Although the crow ancestor's feather was not obtained, the painting scroll also flew away. However, when he heard the song of the 2 mysterious figures, his whole state of mind improved a lot, and his comprehension actually improved several times. If this goes on, it won't be long before he can become a real yellow immortal. This kind of good fortune was simply unheard of and unseen. Unexpectedly, the godly cunning immortal that Kid Zhan Tianpeng said actually had such means. Really amazing. However, to make himself the godly cunning immortal? I won't take this blame. If the 2 evil and demon races find him, then there's really no way to go to heaven and no door to hell. Only a fool will fight against the evil demons. Be careful to sail a ship for 10,000 years, and only stability can survive. Thinking of this, the corners of Ujizi's mouth raised, looking proud. His divine sense swept a few miles away, looking at the 4 figures and the corners of his mouth raised. These 4 guys have so many treasures on them. One has a Tao Tai spirit root. One has an Ice Phoenix spirit root and an immortal sword. There are 2 more, a hatchet and an immortal sword respectively. Not to mention the spirit root, just those 3 immortal weapons. Even he can't see the grade of the product. It is likely to be a middle grade or even a high-grade immortal weapon. This kind of treasure is hard to come by with 10,000 crystals. Once one is seized, then it will really be rich. Little guys, you actually flew to the barren mountains and wilderness, relying on your own great ability? No matter how great your ability is, in front of an immortal, there is no room for a turnaround. Ujizi sped up and flew forward. Along the way, he followed carefully, not daring to be careless. If one escaped, he would be heartbroken for the rest of his life. All right. Ujizi's mind moved, took out several talismans, and gently pinched them. Immediately, whoosh, the talismans ignited, turned into 4 streams of light, and flew away quickly. Buzz, the air exploded, and the waves of air billowed. The 4 streams of light turned into 4 giants with a height of 100 meters, holding all kinds of weapons, with a fierce look. Ujeezy let out a hearty laugh and rushed over. For little guys, hand over the treasures and this old man can spare you. Before he finished speaking, Ujeezy's expression stagnated, and he couldn't help but rub his eyes. Where are they? He saw that in the 100-meter giant encirclement, not to mention a person, not even a mosquito. Ujeezy looked at this scene, and his expression changed slightly. Under the lock of this old man's divine sense, how can they escape without a sound? Could it be that the 4 of them have a stronger divine sense than this old man? How is this possible? Suddenly, Ujeezy's scalp went numb. Looking back, he saw 4 figures walking towards him step by step, looking at him with a faint smile. Are you looking for us? Chapter 200. How can you be stronger than this old man's spiritual will? Ujeezy released his spiritual will and scanned Chun Daoming's group of 4, his face full of disbelief. Oh, do you mean this? After saying that, Chun Daoming released his spiritual will. Immediately, tap tap, Ujeezy's body stepped back, and his face changed dramatically. That kind of disbelief, that kind of shock was written all over his face. A 10-step half-immortal, his spiritual will was hundreds of times stronger than his own. How is this possible? Ujeezy's face changed slightly, and a sense of uneasiness flashed. Seeing Chun Daoming's group of 4 gathered around, his body retreated. What do you want to do? What do I want to do? Oh, you're a bad old man. It's obvious that you came with us, and you still ask us. That's right. Tell me, what's your purpose? Don't talk nonsense. Kill him directly. He even dares to rob the young master's painting scroll. The 4 people stepped forward step by step. Every step put great pressure on Ujeezy, and his heart beat violently. Damn, I was scared by 4 little dolls. Pretending to be a ghost, go. Ujeezy waved his right hand, and the 4 talisman puppets rushed straight to Chun Daoming's group of 4. It was a puppet holding a big knife that pounced on Chun Daoming. Buzz, the puppet, raised the big knife and slashed down from the sky. The terrifying pressure, like a waterfall pouring down, went straight to Chun Daoming. The air seemed to be split, breaking open to both sides. The other 3 puppets also used their own means to attack Mu Bing and the others. All around, there was a loud explosion. Chun Daoming's group of 4 stood in place, motionless. That appearance, as if they were scared silly. Looking at this scene, the corner of Ujeezy's mouth raised. Little guys, hand over the treasure now. It's not too late. Just after saying this, the next second, Ujeezy stood directly in place, full of disbelief. Only to see, Chun Daoming smiled slightly, and then arrived first. The big knife that fell from the sky was gently caught by his 2 fingers. This big knife was tens of meters long and weighed as much as 10,000 pounds. 2 fingers. How could it be so easy? How is this possible? Boom! Chun Daoming's 2 fingers gently exerted force, and the big knife instantly collapsed. Subsequently, Chun Daoming stepped out and came to the front of the big knife puppet, smiling slightly. The knife is not used like this. He stretched out his right hand and slashed forward. While light flashed, all the movements of the broadsword puppet stopped immediately. Immediately after, bang! The broadsword puppet's body shattered into powder and dissipated on the spot. This is impossible. How could his physical body be so strong? When I fought with Ho Ching just now, I was far inferior. Even a mysterious, immortal realm dragon probably can't compare to this physical body. Ujeezy opened his mouth wide and mumbled to himself. There was no response for a long time. However, boom! A deafening boom woke Ujeezy up. Raising his head, his pupils constricted once more, and his expression changed drastically. They saw. The puppet in front of Su Yiling had turned into scraps and splashed everywhere. She revealed an embarrassed smile. You really scare me to death. It turns out that his puppet is so weak. It exploded with just a bit of force. Upon hearing this, Ujeezy's scalp went numb and his hair stood on end. So weak? This is something that this old man has been refining for hundreds of years, using countless materials to create. This is just a talisman. For talismans, but it took nearly 1,000 years. You bastard, you only used a little bit of force and it exploded? Do you want to anger this old man to death? Ujeezy's face was full of bitterness, and he was about to make a move. Boom! Another explosion jolted him back to his senses. He saw Wenrenshur standing in the same place, smiling. One finger, using a bit of strength, can blast the puppet into pieces. My arm is really terrifying. The corners of Wenrenshur's mouth rose, and his face was full of pride. Today's good fortune was simply indescribable. Boom! There was still an explosion, and another puppet was torn into pieces by Mu Bing's bare hands. Seeing such a horrifying scene, Ujeezy's expression changed drastically. Monster. Really a monster, this physical body. Even if it faces a yellow immortal, it can completely crush it. Damn it, careless. Ujeezy muttered to himself, and his body retreated slightly. Suddenly, he turned around, accelerated in vain, and ran back. I have to run quickly. If I fall into the hands of these little guys, it will be difficult to be good. Ujeezy muttered to himself, running for his life. However, he had just run a few steps. He saw a figure appear in front of him in an instant, and then a fist blasted on his face. The speed was so fast that Ujeezy had no time to react. Boom! There was a loud noise. His soul seemed to be blasted out of his body. Immediately afterward, his body fell down like a meteor. Boom! His head fell to the ground and the rock exploded. Dizzy, painful, all kinds of uncomfortable feelings surged all over his body. Damn it, damn it. Ujeezy touched his swollen face, gritted his teeth, and roared again and again. As soon as he looked up, he saw Su Yiling showing a sweet smile. A finger gently flicked toward his eyebrows. No, Ujeezy's head seemed to be hit hard, and his body flew out upside down. He hadn't landed yet. Boom! Wenrenshur punched him in the face. His body flew straight out and landed in front of Mu Bing. Humph! Young master's painting scroll. How can you snatch it? With a light kick, she directly kicked over. Boom! Ujeezy's body flew horizontally again and landed in front of Chun Daoming. Chun Daoming naturally would not be polite, and he was even more ruthless. In this way, Ujeezy flew around like a ball. Oh, you bunch of animals. You don't know how to respect the old and love the young at all. Don't fight. I will be killed by you if I fight again. This old man is a dignified immortal, fighting to protect the human race. You can't harm the loyal and good like this. Ujeezy said one sentence at a time, letting out a burst of screams from time to time. Immortal? So what if you aren't immortal? Dare to steal the things given by the young master. Even if the immortal king comes, I will still beat you. Old thing, don't think I don't know that you have been coveting our treasures. You still have a nerve to say that you are fighting for the human race? Why didn't I see you move when Ho Ching was resurrected just now? After saying that, Chun Daoming kicked. Oh! With a strange cry, Ujeezy's face was twisted and deformed in pain. Damn kid, what a vicious heart. Do you want this old man to have no descendants? Ujeezy was in so much pain that he gasped and broke out in cold sweat. Boom! A finger flicked and flicked heavily on Ujeezy's chin. Immediately, boom! The teeth flew out and fell like hailstones. On the ground, a lot was spilled. Ouch! Don't hit me, my mouth has been crooked by you. This old man was wrong. This old man was wrong. Okay? This old man is so old. You guys do a good deed. Don't hit me anymore. A moment later, Ujeezy fell to the ground, breathing like a gossamer, motionless. His face was directly swollen like a pig's head. Blood foam was spat out from his mouth from time to time. It was too horrible to look at. The four looked at Ujeezy and stopped. Old man, I will spare you this time. If there is a next time, don't blame us for being impolite. Chun Daoming roared, scaring Ujeezy's body. Chapter 201. Yes. Yes, the sound he spat out was indistinct. It looked like an old man who was about to die. Chun Dao Ming looked at Ujizi's miserable appearance and sighed secretly. Let's go. Okay. Mu Bing and Wan Rensher nodded, turned around, and were about to soar into the sky. Looking back, they found that Su Yiling was not there. Chapter 201. Danger like piling eggs. Danger lurking in every corner. Please wait a moment. After the content is updated, please refresh the page to get the latest updates. Chapter 202. A wisp of ancient fierce demons' remnant soul kept roaring and struggling frantically. However, it didn't work at all. It was imprisoned and couldn't move at all. Rumung, give me the hairpin. At this moment, a sound rang out. Immediately afterward, the ancient fierce demon felt as if its body was being torn apart. It was being pulled into strands. So, I'm the Tao Ancestor, Chapter 202. The young master wants to catch a net of dragons. Currently in the middle of typing, please wait a moment. After the content is updated, please refresh the page to get the latest update. Chapter 203. North Prefecture Immortal City in a tea house. Big news, big news. At this time, a man with a mustache quickly ran into the tea house and said loudly. This voice immediately attracted the attention of many people. Soon, a group of cultivators gathered around. What news? Don't be so secretive. Tell me. The corners of the mustache man's mouth curled up as he looked at the crowd's expectant expressions. Let me tell you, something big happened at the absolute beginning mine in the north. The small mustache man said, What's the matter? Don't tell me there's a monster. I've heard from the elders that there are unclean things in the absolute beginning mine. As long as one runs into them, they will be plagued with bad luck for the rest of their lives. There will be no way for them to turn things around. What? What kind of monster is this? Don't interrupt. Listen to the mustache first. As soon as these words came out, everyone's gaze once again focused on the man with the mustache. Let me tell you the first thing first. Do you still remember the matter of the Chai family coming to the North Prefecture Immortal City? Little Mustache asked. Of course. 108 flying ships and tens of thousands of elite disciples. How domineering. That's right, as expected of one of the 3 great clans in the Holy Land. How enviable. Hearing these voices, the corners of the small mustache man's mouth curled up. That's in the past. This time, the Chai family suffered heavy losses. Tens of thousands of disciples died in the origin mine. Even a family head was the same. Quiet, very quiet. Everyone stared blankly at the man with the mustache in disbelief. After a while, the sound of people sucking in a breath of cold air rose and fell. What? Would the Chai family dare to dig the absolute beginning mine? Even the patriarch is dead? Doesn't this mean that the 3 great clans of the sacred ground have become 2 great clans? Yeah, now the Chai family is completely finished, and they can't even compare to a third-rate power. What about the Fong family? How are they? Everyone looked at the bearded man in confusion. Fong family? That would be even worse. Basically, the entire clan would be mobilized. This time, it was the Fong clan who dug into the absolute primordium mine and found immortal metal. This matter has long since reached the ears of the Chai clan. What everyone doesn't know is that the matter of the immortal gold is just a scheme of the devil race. In order to resurrect the ancestor, they lured the immortal cultivators into the mine to perform a blood sacrifice. The mustache man said one sentence at a time. Everyone's eyes widened in disbelief. A chill spread from the soles of his feet to his entire body. Although the blood demon ancestor has been killed, the soul-devouring insects that fill the sky are nurtured by a taboo existence. Who could be a match for them? In the blink of an eye, these soul-devouring insects locked onto the surviving immortal cultivators. At this critical moment, guess what? At this point, the mustache man deliberately picked up his teacup and took a small sip. Everyone, I'm sorry about today. I'm hungry. Let's go eat something first. We'll talk tomorrow. Isn't it just spirit stones? Here you go. That's right, just say it. A moment later, many spirit stones were piled up around the mustached man. The man with the mustache quietly put it away and slightly cupped his fists. Since everyone is so generous, then I can only risk my life to accompany you. At this critical moment, the godly, cunning, immortal sent down a divine thought, played a song, and all the soul-devouring insects fell asleep. Every immortal cultivator not only recovered from their injuries, but their strength also soared. The surviving immortal cultivators, each of them broke through several realms in a row. Their Tao heart was stable, their state of mind improved, and their talent became a heavenly son of heaven. And these people all joined the Evil Suppression Alliance. Hearing these words, the eyes of the crowd of immortal cultivators were full of worship. What? Broke through several realms in a row? Is there a mistake? This means is completely the means of the gods. The godly, cunning immortal is originally a god. What is he doing? I remember that when I was in the blood phoenix nest, someone also heard the godly, cunning immortal play the guqin, and it seems that there is no such effect. This means that the godly, cunning immortal has become stronger. What? Gods can also become stronger? That's terrifying. In this life, if I can see the godly, cunning immortal, I will die without regrets. I want to join the Evil Suppression Alliance. Only then will I have a chance to see the godly, cunning immortal. I want it too. The crowd of immortal cultivators looked excited. Their fiery eyes lingered for a long time. For a long time, the surroundings did not calm down. And scenes like this appeared in different places in the North Mansion Immortal City. Then with the North Mansion Immortal City as the center, it spread out in all directions. After this incident, the name of the godly, cunning immortal was even more deeply imprinted in the hearts of the crowd of immortal cultivators. There were countless believers. Many families have added a deity position in the ancestral hall of worship. The 4 words, godly, cunning, immortal, were particularly huge. Moreover, the deity position was placed in the center. The godly, cunning, immortal impressively became a god in the minds of everyone. The center of the West Mansion Immortal City, the top floor of the Stargazing Tower. 3 men sat inside. The man in the lead waved his fan gently, looking elegant and graceful. This person was Jean Tianpeng. Young master, is the matter of the absolute beginning mind true? Elder Fong's face was full of worry. Jean Tianpeng sighed secretly and patted Elder Fong on the shoulder. Everything is true. When Elder Fong heard this, his expression was gloomy. Xiao Xiao, you will be fine. Uncle Fong, are you okay? Jean Tianpeng asked. Elder Fong wiped his tears, smiled, and shook his head. Young master, I am fine, you can rest assured. Do you want to go back to the Fong family to have a look? Jean Tianpeng asked. No, I have nothing to do with the Fong family anymore. Elder Fong shook his head slightly. All right then. Jean Tianpeng nodded slightly and no longer advised. Young master, the blood demon ancestor has not been resurrected. Presumably the demon race has already launched an action, which is very bad for our business. Elder Fong said. Don't worry, with the young master here, everything is not a problem. Speaking of this, Jean Tianpeng looked at Elder Zheng. Uncle Zheng, how is the matter of the 5-spirit immortal gold? Young master, all the 5-spirit immortal gold fragments are in the hands of the Red Refining Sect. Elder Zheng said. Red Refining Sect? Jean Tianpeng frowned slightly. Young master, I have inquired. Many people in the Red Refining Sect have heard the young master's music in the Blood Phoenix Nest, and they are now members of the Evil Suppression Alliance. Elder Zheng said. Hearing this, Jean Tianpeng nodded slightly and closed his fan. Then this matter is easy to handle. These immortal gold must be collected and sent to the young master. Yes, young master. Elder Zheng nodded. By the way, where are the people who sent the immortal crystals now? Jean Tianpeng asked. Young master, they will be here soon. Please wait a moment. Elder Zheng nodded. Okay. Jean Tianpeng nodded. Whoosh. At this time, a stream of light came quickly. It penetrated the wall directly and entered the room. A scroll flew in front of Jean Tianpeng, trembling slightly. This is... Jean Tianpeng took the scroll, opened it, and suddenly his pupils shrank. This scroll, wasn't it the painting that was robbed by Ujizi? Why did it fly back by itself? Young master, this is... Look. Opening the scroll, and presenting it in front of the two old men. Their pupils shrank, and their faces were full of shock. Young master, it seems that it is useless for them to rob the things that the young master sent. Yes, as long as we don't give it away, this scroll will always be ours. The young master's means are simply unimaginable. Originally, I am the Tao Ancestor. Please collect. Originally, I am the Tao Ancestor updates the fastest. Chapter 204. The next day, after breakfast, Huang Rumeng said goodbye to Sun Hao. One person sat on the thunder-rushing immortal boat and flew in the sky. Young master's fishing net doesn't look like an immortal item, but it can't be a spiritual item, let alone a mortal item. Last time, young master used this net to fish out the dragon race. Huang Rumeng held the fishing net and kept looking at it. After looking at it for a long time, she still couldn't see the grade of the product. After putting the fishing net into the soul space, Huang Rumeng took out a map and began to look at it. That serious look was completely like a different person. Ghost Dragon Lake, there can't be a dragon race. Young master can fish out the dragon race and catch the dragon race. It's all because of young master's skill. Compared with young master, I don't know how much worse. Since young master wants to catch a net, then I can only go to the dragon's nest. Huang Rumeng muttered to herself, looking at the map, and began to think. Suddenly, she raised her eyebrows. I heard from the queen that the dragon race lives in the cliff of the sea. The cliff of the sea seems to be here. Go here. Huang Rumeng's mind moved. Buzz, layers of ripples shook around the thunder-rushing immortal boat. The immortal boat drilled into the ripples and disappeared. In the south of Tianluo continent, there is an endless ocean. In the center of the ocean, there is a sea area with a radius of 5,000 miles. This is a forbidden area for the human race, known as the Cliff of the Sea. Under the Cliff of the Sea, there is a city. In the city, there is a continuous stretch of palaces, majestic atmosphere, magnificent momentum. The palace hall, singing and dancing. A man in a golden robe sat in the main seat, drinking and talking. He is the purple sun-star dragon lord, Qing Fu. He looked at the group of dancers in front of him and shook his head repeatedly. Go down, go down. Qing Fu waved his hand. Yes, the dancers looked frightened, and they all bowed and retreated. A group of vulgar women. I'm tired of seeing them. Qing Fu sighed secretly. Master, the Divine Turtle Clan has a stunner for you. At this time, a pointy mouth and monkey cheeks minister came forward with a flattering face. A group of bastards. Where did the peerless stunner come from? Qing Fu shook his head for a while. Master, it is said that they caught her. It seems to be the princess of the Heavenly Fox clan. Huluadi. What? Qing Fu's eyes shone with excitement. Those bastards? What do you want? Grasshopper asked. It's like this, the sharp-mouthed man whispered into Qing Fu's ear. Qing Fu slightly frowned, but didn't respond. Then he said, Bring it here for me to have a look. Yes, master. A glance from the sharp-mouthed man? A guard? He quickly retreated. After a while, a woman in red was brought in by someone. She has a hot body. It was extremely tempting. 2 fox ears high up. Keep a lookout for the surroundings. That pair of eyes shot out monstrous flames of anger, as if it wanted to incinerate the surroundings. It was the princess of the demon Ancestor Mountain Sky Fox clan, Huluadi. Woo, she's whimpering. He couldn't make any sound at all. Grasshopper was staring at Huluadi. His expression froze. That fiery gaze? There was no disguise. He scanned from top to bottom. After that, with his hands behind his back, he had a calm expression on his face. Master? It was said that this girl had already cultivated 8 tails. Just 1 step away, she can become a demon immortal. The sharp-mouthed man said. Hearing this, Grasshopper secretly nodded. He calmly looked at Huluadi. What's the matter with you guys? Why don't you let Princess Tianu speak? Master, this girl is very fierce. I'm afraid. The sharp-mouthed man said. Fierce? That's too much to my liking. Grasshopper muttered to himself. His face was filled with joy. He walked to Huluadi's side and released the sound restriction. Immediately. Damn reptile. I advise you to let me go. Huluadi pointed at Grasshopper and cursed. Grasshopper was shocked. As the Dragon Lord, he had never been scolded like this before. However, the following words made him dumbfounded. What are you looking at? Haven't you seen your grandaunt before? If you don't want to die, quickly let go of your grandaunt. Otherwise, when my mother comes, she will turn this broken seabed upside down. After a round of cursing, Grasshopper's face was livid. He clenched his fists, and his joints cracked. Pa! With a single slap, he sent it flying. Immediately, Huluwadi was like a kite with a broken string. He flew out and fell with his face covered in dirt. A palm print quickly swelled up on his face. Huluwadi touched his face. His face was filled with surprise. Damn reptile, how dare you hit me? After saying that, Huluwadi pounced towards Grasshopper. However, not to mention that her power was sealed. Even if it was not sealed, how could she be a match for Grasshopper? Plah! Grasshopper grabbed Huluwadi's neck with one hand. No matter how she struggled, it was useless. You are the first to dare to scold me like this. Do you think you are still in Two Mountain? Now that you are in my territory, your life and death are in my hands. Do you want to die or live? Grasshopper looked at Huluwadi coldly. His cold, killing intent was not concealed at all. Woo! Huluwadi was grabbed by the throat, unable to say a word. If you want to live, then nod your head, Grasshopper said. Seeing Huluwadi nod, Grasshopper released her. Huluwadi stood on the spot, his face filled with panic. At the corner of his eyes, 2 lines of tears unconsciously fell. She hid in a corner, shivering. Grasshopper looked at this scene and nodded with satisfaction. Huluwadi, listen carefully. It is very easy to live. As long as you serve me happily, then you can continue to live. Otherwise, die, Grasshopper said. Hearing this, Huluwadi's expression changed. Finally, he gritted his teeth, revealing a ruthless expression. Ha! Huluwadi stood up, looking up to the sky and laughing. She looked at Grasshopper, pointed at his nose, and scolded. If you want to kill me, then kill me. You want me to serve an abandoned son? Dream on. What? Not convinced. You dare say you are not an abandoned son? Abandoned by the Milky Way Dragon King on this remote planet. You dare say you are not? You are not only an abandoned son. You are also trash. You only dare to act like a tyrant on this purple sun star. If I were you, I would have found a rock and kill myself. Living like this is simply a waste of resources. Die early, reincarnate early. The words flew out like a sharp knife, fiercely stabbing into Grasshopper's chest. Grasshopper pointed at Huluwadi, gritting her teeth. Bitch, since you want to die, I will fulfill your wish. After saying that, Grasshopper raised her palm, aimed at Huluwadi, and slapped over. Buzz, the surrounding air, was hit until it was distorted. Dead bitch. I will let you know, the consequences of offending me is not something you can bear. Die for me. Grasshopper frantically extracted the immortal power in her body and put it in her palm. The terrifying power instantly increased several times. Kacha, the surrounding air, like a mirror, burst open. Seeing this scene, Huluwadi's mouth raised into a smile. Mother, see you in the next life. Huluwadi did not retreat. Instead, he took a step forward and collided with Grasshopper's palm. Chapter 205. Deliberately courting death. How can I let you do as you wish? Grasshopper's face was full of sneers. He quickly retracted his palm, letting Huluwadi hit the air. Boom! Huluwadi fell to the ground, touching her face. Not good. Huluwadi looked up, but she saw a force shrouding her body, instantly wrapping her up. No matter how she struggled, it was useless. Bitch, since you want to die all your life, I won't let you get what you want. When I get tired of playing with you, I will take you little by little. Grasshopper said word by word, with a cruel smile on her face. When Huluwadi heard this, 2 lines of tears fell from the corner of her eyes, and despair was written all over her face. Back off! Yes, master. Everyone retreated. Boom! The door closed. Grasshopper grabbed Huluwadi's sleeve and tore it hard. Wow! A sound of tearing silk rang out. A wretched smile resounded throughout the hall. Bitch, scream, scream. Even if you scream, no one will come to save you. In the Dragon Palace, I am the sky here. I wanted to make friends with you, but you don't know how to appreciate favors. Don't blame me for being ruthless. Grasshopper's face was full of arrogance. No, don't. I beg you, kill me, kill me. If you touch me, I won't let you go even if I become a ghost. Desperate cries kept ringing out. Master! At this moment, a loud shout came from outside the hall. Then, boom! The hall door was knocked open, and an old man ran in quickly and knelt in front of Grasshopper. Master! What a disappointment! On Grasshopper's face, a touch of anger flashed away. He looked at the old man kneeling on the ground. High priest, what's the matter? Master, I am incompetent. I can't deduce it. The old man said. What? Even you 18 priests can't deduce it? Grasshopper said. Yes, master. The old man nodded, looking dispirited. There's a layer of mysterious aura on the people who eat the dragon race. No matter what method is used, it can't be broken. After saying that, the old man lowered his head in shame. Since that's the case, what's the point of keeping you around? After saying that, Grasshopper raised her hand and slapped him. Phew! A transparent right palm struck the old man's body as fast as lightning. Bang! With a loud bang, the old man flew backward and crashed heavily into the ground. Pooh! Spurting a mouthful of blood, the old man lay on the ground with a dispirited look on his face. This! Ching Fu's expression froze, disbelief written all over her face. His palm strike, just now, was just to teach the high priest a lesson. Who would have thought that he was about to be beaten to death? Master, we suffered a backlash. Apart from me, the other priests are all dead. The high priest's breathing was weak as he waved his hand. Ching Fu's face slightly changed. She hurriedly ran over and helped the high priest up. High priest, I won't allow you to die. My lord, I'm sorry, I can't do it. You must remember, you must not slaughter the human race, otherwise, our race will be in danger. With that, the high priest's head tilted to the side, and there was no more movement. No! Ching Fu let out an unwilling roar. Bang! The tables and chairs around them cracked one by one and exploded into powder. The rocks on the ground were even lifted layer by layer. The entire hall was shaking violently, as if it was about to collapse. Ching Fu's eyes were blood red, staring at Huluadi, who fell on the ground and walked towards him step by step. Damn humans, damn ants. Eating my people is one thing, but you even killed the high priest. If I don't take revenge for this, I'm not a dragon. My race's army will trample over your mountains and rivers, trample you all under our feet, and crush you into meat paste. Ching Fu said word by word, carrying Huluadi to the back of the hall. I beg you, kill me. Huluadi's breath was weak, and he spat out a desperate voice from time to time. At this time, boom, a loud noise. The entire hall was buzzing and shaking. Ching Fu stopped, stood where she was, and shouted, What's going on? Swoosh, a figure dashed over at high speed. Master, human cultivators have invaded the Dragon Palace. What? Ching Fu threw Huluadi to the ground, and his joints exploded. Are they rebelling? They dare to enter the forbidden area of the human race. Pass the order. Send the guards to attack. Yes, master. Who? Ching Fu turned into an afterimage and rushed away. Soon, he came to the outside of the palace, and when he saw the scene in front of him, his pupils shrank. He saw a woman in white with a veil on her face standing in the water. The water rippled, and her hair swam. Her graceful figure was a peerless beauty at first glance. Compared with Huluadi, she was much stronger. Suddenly, Ching Fu was reluctant to look away. This woman was Huang Roman. She glanced around and finally rested her eyes on Ching Fu. Beside Huang Roman, a group of dragon soldiers held long spears in their hands and shrank back. Girl, hello. My name is Ching Fu. I am a dragon. Ching Fu stretched out her hand. However, swoosh, the weak and boneless little hand slapped over. The water turned upside down, and a huge palm formed by the water condensed. Immediately, it slapped on Ching Fu's face. Boom! There was a dull sound, and the entire bottom of the water was trembling. Ching Fu flew out like a kite with a broken string. Wherever it went, it was shattered. Boom! Boom! One by one, the dragon soldiers were hit by the aftermath and burst into pieces. Boom! Like a meteor falling to the ground, Qing Fu crashed into the city. A shock wave spread in all directions, and everything within a radius of 2 miles was flattened. The entire bottom of the sea was whistling incessantly. Everyone jumped up and down in the sea, drifting left and right, unable to stand firm. A group of dragon soldiers stared blankly at Huang Rumeng, their faces full of disbelief. She sent the dragon lord flying with one palm. This terrifying strength was unimaginable. The problem was that she didn't use any power. Just relying on her physical body, she had such power? When did the human race have such a terrifying expert? How strong was she? Why did she come here? Doubts were written all over everyone's faces. Every dragon soldier stayed where they were and didn't dare to move. Boom! There was an explosion. Qing Fu drilled out from the ground and turned into a 5,000-meter-long azure dragon. A layer of azure flame ignited on his body. Goo-goo! The sea seemed to be boiled and began to boil. Damned human! Lowly ant! How dare you injure me? Today, even if the heavenly king comes, he can't save you. Cry, shout, scream. Even if you shout to the sky, no one dares to save you. The azure dragon stared at Huang Rumeng with its eyes wide open. Kill for me. Whoever kills her will eat her. This sound rose. Kill. The sound of killing shook the sky. Thousands of dragon race soldiers surged over like a flood. Chapter 206. Giant dragons swept in all directions and pounced straight at Huang Rumeng. The sea surged, and the turbulence surged in all directions. Damned ant, my clan isn't a place you can barge into. Even if you aren't immortal, you'll have to give up your life here today. How can an ant violate the dragon might of my clan? Thousands of dragons galloped, and the dragon's breath roared. The monstrous power directly isolated the seawater and pounced straight at Huang Rumeng. Huang Rumeng stood in place, her face unchanged. She took out a fishing net unhurriedly and threw it up. Immediately, there was a shock. The seawater froze, and time stood still. All movements at this moment quieted down. In other words, in front of the speed of the fishing net, their speed was negligible. Swish! Huang Rumeng followed the fishing net and rose rapidly, standing quietly on the heads of the dragons. At this moment, the giant dragons recovered. All movements continued. Boom! The dragon's breath all burst open. A spherical wave of air pushed the seawater away in all directions, forming a spherical space. It was blown into nothingness, such fresh and tender human meat. I didn't even get to eat it. What a pity, what a pity. The giant dragon's face was full of bitterness. As soon as the words fell, swish, a whistling sound came quickly. Looking up, the group of giant dragons couldn't help but shrink their pupils. What? Not dead? She ran away. What is that thing? Looking at the fishing net coming down from above, the group of giant dragons was puzzled. This is fishing net? There is no spiritual power fluctuation, no immortal power fluctuation. This is a mortal thing. No way. She wants to use mortal things to deal with us? She's here to be funny, right? Thousands of giant dragons looked at this scene with a sneer on their faces. However, swish, the fishing net shrank rapidly, enveloping thousands of giant dragons. No matter how they struggled, it was useless. This fishing net seemed to have a heavenly method. All the magic power and physical strength of the giant dragons were actually sealed and could not be used. Their bodies shrank rapidly. In less than a moment, they were only as thick as an arm. How is this possible? How can a broken net be so powerful? It's a dream. It's definitely a dream. My magic power actually disappeared. Dragon Lord, save me, save me. Panic shouts rang out continuously. Huang Rumeng completely disregarded all of this. She looked at these dragon warriors and could not help but frown slightly. No matter how you look at it, it looks like a dragon, not a loach at all. How can I turn them into loaches? Huang Rumeng muttered to herself, frowning in thought. Suddenly, she raised her eyebrows, her face full of joy. Phew! A zither appeared in front of her. She sat cross-legged in midair, gently fiddling with it. Clang! As the sound of the zither spread out, a transparent wave of air rippled out. The seawater that was flowing backward was pushed out again. The invisible barrier isolated the seawater outside and prevented it from flowing back. Ding! Following the movements of Huang Ruming's hands, strands of zither music poured into the fishing net like a storm. Oh no! Don't! Spare me! Spare me! The sound in the fishing net gradually stopped. The bodies of the thousands of dragons were changing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Their bodies shrank rapidly and changed rapidly. As the sound of the zither gradually stopped, their bodies gradually turned into loaches. It's done. There are so many. The young master should be satisfied, right? Huang Rumung nodded in satisfaction and put the fishing net into the soul space. The 4 dragon commanders stared at this scene and couldn't help but widen their eyes. A chill emanating from the bones surged all over their bodies. Was she the human who ate the dragon? This method was simply incredible and unimaginable. With so many dragons, even Yellow Immortal would be killed in seconds with a full blow. She was safe and sound, and she caught all the dragon warriors who had just attacked. She was leaving? What to do? The 4 dragon commanders looked at Grasshopper, only to see him muttering. Ancient dragon language spat out from Grasshopper's mouth. On Grasshopper's body, an ancient bell slowly floated up into the air, growing larger and larger, enveloping Grasshopper. Countless azure threads rushed down from the ancient bell and drilled into Grasshopper's body like a waterfall. Ow! A dragon's roar shook the world. An azure dragon bead was spat out by Grasshopper. On the dragon bead, there were ancient dragon runes all over it, emitting the power to destroy heaven and earth. The Dragon Lord is using infinite stillness. Not good. She's going to run. Stop her. The 4 dragon commanders looked at each other, then turned into a 1,000-meter-long dragon, roared towards the sky, and blocked in front of Huang Rumung. Seeing this scene, Huang Rumung frowned slightly, stretched out her slender, jade-like finger, and pointed forward. The 9-color electric light kept darting at the fingertips, intertwining with each other. Then they merged together and turned into a wisp of white electric light, sizzling. Die! A word was spat out lightly. Her jade-like finger pressed forward. Buzz! The air vibrated, and layers of ripples spread outward. Swish! The white electric light darted out like an electric snake. In the blink of an eye, it blasted on a dragon commander. This is impossible. No. The dragon commander looked frightened and kept fleeing. It's just that there was no time. Boom! There was an explosion. The 10-step half-immortal realm dragon commander's body exploded into powder and disappeared on the spot. What was left in place was only the sizzling sound of electric current. Seeing this scene, the remaining 3 dragon commanders felt cold and broke out in cold sweat. This is the immortal Thunder Tribulation. My God, could she be the subordinate of the Thunder Tribulation Lord? Impossible. This kind of immortal Thunder Tribulation is controlled by the heavenly Tao and can't be used whenever you want. So what should we do? They looked to Huang Rumung, and their bodies involuntarily retreated. They had no heart to fight at all. Seeing that they didn't stop her, Huang Rumung didn't kill them again. She waved her right hand. Buzz! A layer of air wave quickly blasted upwards. The seawater above was divided into 2 sides, revealing a passage. Huang Rumung was about to step forward and couldn't help but feel her scalp explode. Looking back, her pupils shrank, and her face changed dramatically. Dead bitch, stop for me. A roar, accompanied by a huge ancient bell, flew over quickly. In an instant, it enveloped Huang Rumung. Phew! Inside the ancient bell, countless black threads rushed down and wrapped around Huang Rumung. This invisible force instantly fixed Huang Rumung in place, unable to move. Huang Rumung's face changed dramatically, struggling frantically. However, it was useless. There seemed to be a terrifying force between her soul and body. This force isolated the soul alone, unable to move. This is limitless stillness. How could the primordial bell be in his hands? Huang Rumbing muttered to herself. Her soul kept struggling. However, in front of this power, it was like a baby facing a giant. There was no comparison at all. Careless, Huang Rumbing muttered, and in her eyes, 2 lines of tears involuntarily slipped down. Young master, I'm sorry. It's all my fault. I will repay your kindness in the afterlife. Huang Ruming's face was full of despair. Chapter 207. Ding, the blessing point plus 10. Hearing this inexplicable sound, Sun Hao's expression stagnated. He put down the hoe in his hand, his face full of doubts. Don't you need to give things to get the blessing point? Is it hoeing? Impossible. He just hoed for a day and got nothing. He looked up at the soul-sinking divine wood and sighed secretly. Why hasn't it germinated yet? Don't you have the seeds to grow? It shouldn't be. Under this soul-sinking divine wood, there's such a large, open space. It would look much better if some flowers were planted. I don't know where to buy flowers. Wait for Rumline to come back. Ask her, and then buy some to plant. Sun Hao muttered to himself, keeping this matter in mind. Soon after, layers of ripples shook in the sky. An immortal boat appeared in the sky. Seeing the words rushing thunder on the immortal boat, Sun Hao's eyes shone. Rumung is back. Huang Rumung put away the immortal boat. Her white clothes were whiter than snow and floated down leisurely. Young master, before the person arrived, the fragrance of immortals came. Huang Rumung walked over quickly and stood in front of Sun Hao, crossing her hands and holding each other tightly, very nervous. Rumung, what's wrong? It's fine if you didn't get it. Sun Hao stepped forward and asked. Young master, Huang Rumung hesitated. Rumung, it's okay. Sun Hao said. Young master, I got it. But, Huang Rumung said. Then why are you so nervous? Did something happen? Sun Hao asked. Young master, I gave the clothes you gave me to others. I'm sorry. Please punish me. After speaking, Huang Rumung lowered her head with a look of panic. Young master, it's all my own decision. Young master, please don't drive me away. Seeing Sun Hao staring at her, Huang Ruming's heart was pounding, and her face was nervous. Young master is coming. What should I do? What should I do? The next second, Huang Rumung was stunned in place. A warm embrace gently hugged her. Rumung, this little thing, I'm still talking about punishment. Am I that fierce? Sun Hao said. No, young master. You're not fierce at all. You're too kind to Rumung. Huang Rumung said. That's right. In the future, you are not allowed to talk about punishment, or I will be angry. Sun Hao said. Young master, you are so kind. Huang Rumung hugged Sun Hao tightly. After a long while, only then did the two separate. By the way, Rumung, did you catch a loach today? Sun Hao asked. Young master, you've earned quite a lot. Go. The two of them came to the pond. Huang Rumung took out a fishing net and threw all the loaches into the pond. Hua! The pond was filled with darkness. Sun Hao's eyes shone when he saw this scene. There were at least 1,000 of them, enough to last them for a long time. So many loaches. Rumung, you're amazing. Sun Hao's eyes shone, looking at Huang Rumung, his eyes full of admiration. Immortal cultivators were indeed different. When they fished out the fish, they caught them all in one net. Although Rumeng didn't know how to fish, she was much better at fishing than him. Back then, he had only managed to catch an eel when he cast the net. Young master, you flatter me. It's mainly because you weave a good net, Huang Rumeng said. Hearing this, Sun Hao raised the corner of his mouth slightly. Rumeng's words were really comfortable. Such a large pond of loaches is enough for us to eat for half a month. Sun Hao's eyes shone. Rumung, let's make a loach meal today. Do you like steamed, braised, or boiled? Sun Hao said. Young master, I like them all. Huang Rumeng said. Then let's braise it. After speaking, Sun Hao stretched out his hand, grabbed a loach, cut its belly with a knife, and squeezed out its intestines. Then, he threw it into the bowl. Such a scene frightened the Dragon Clan soldiers in the water, causing them to tremble in fear. Who is this mortal? How could he be so terrifying? Even that a mortal is respectful to him. His identity must not be simple. Damn it, he dared to eat us as loaches courting death. Look at my divine dragon tail. A golden dragon went straight to Sun Hao. In the next second, he was horrified to find that any means could not be used. One hand gently held it. No matter how he struggled, it was useless. Oh, this big golden loach is very good. Get directly into my hand. Okay, I'll eat you first. In the next second, the golden dragon found a sharp knife waving towards it. Sensing the momentum that tore everything apart, the golden dragon was scared out of his wits. No, the shouting stopped abruptly. The knife passed through, and the golden dragon instantly lost consciousness. Immediately afterward, its intestines were squeezed out. It was thrown into the bowl, motionless. Heavens save us! If this goes on, it won't be long before I'm eaten too. Seeing Sun Hao cut open the bellies of the dragons, the other dragon soldiers' hearts sank to hell, and they felt a chill. Soon after, nearly 100 silver dragons were dealt with. Then hot oil was burnt. That's immortal tea oil, my ancestor. That's immortal wood, to cook us with immortal fire. Isn't it a waste of talent? What is the identity of this mortal? Old ancestor. How could we provoke such an existence? A moment later, on the table, there were 3 dishes and 1 soup. A plate of braised loach was very dazzling. Sun Hao looked at the plate of loach and nodded with satisfaction. Rumung, come eat. Sun Hao picked a few loaches for Huang Rumung. Young master, you eat too. The two of them picked dishes for each other, looking like a young couple who respected each other. With one bite, a mouthful of crispness mixed with the fragrance of fish filled the entire mouth cavity. Fresh, salty, spicy, all kinds of flavors stimulated the taste buds. The taste was complex and rich. It was simply the best taste in the world. Rumung, how is it? Does it taste okay? Sun Hao asked. Young master, you cook so delicious. Huang Rumung nodded repeatedly. Looking at Huang Rumung's appearance of eating loach, Sun Hao nodded secretly. Now, there's meat to eat again. Miss Yiling and the others must like it, right? When you come over, I will make you a full banquet of loach. At that time, you must be greedy to death. Sun Hao muttered to himself with a smile on his face. After dinner, young master, are you eating today? Huang Rumung asked. Yes. Sun Hao nodded and took Huang Rumung for a stroll in the backyard. Rumung, under this soul-sinking divine wood, there's a large open space. I want to plant a garden here. What do you think? Sun Hao said. Okay, young master. Huang Rumung looked happy. Then do you know where there are flowers for sale in the Tianluo continent? Sun Hao asked. Flowers for sale? Huang Rumung frowned slightly and began to think. Then her eyes shone. Young master, if you want to talk about flowers, it is naturally the 100 Flowers Valley. There are many kinds of flowers there, and there is everything. 100 Flowers Valley? Sun Hao's eyes shone. Just listening to the name, he knew that there must be a lot of flowers there. This place he must go and see. Where is the 100 Flowers Valley? Sun Hao asked. Young master, the 100 Flowers Valley is in the southern region. Huang Rumung said. Okay, I will go to the 100 Flowers Valley tomorrow to buy some. Sun Hao said. Young master, this soul-sinking divine wood has not sprouted yet. It's okay, we will go for a day. Okay. P.S. The northern region's plot has been greatly changed, which may involve the later parts. It is recommended that you come to QQ reading. Chapter 208. Cliff of the Sea in the Sky. Hu Luodi looked at Huang Rumung, his face full of gratitude. Thank you, immortal, for saving my life. Hu Luodi was ready to kneel, but found that he could not kneel at all. Well, since you and I are fated, then listen to my song. After speaking, Huang Rumung took out the ancient zither and began to play. Ding! The sound of the zither sounded. The beautiful sound was refreshing. At this moment, Hu Luodi felt the surrounding scenery change rapidly. Warm sun, spring breeze. Lying lazily on the grass, basking in the sun. Around, there were family members playing and fighting. Her state of mind was improving rapidly. The song was over. Hu Luodi still closed her eyes, motionless. She quietly felt her changes, shocked in place. Her soul had grown more than 10 times. This method was so simple that it was unimaginable. When did such a terrifying immortal appear in the human race? Was she really a flower fairy? Impossible. When did the flower fairy play the zither? After a long time, Huluwadi opened her eyes, full of joy. She looked at Huang Rumung, her face full of gratitude. Thank you, immortal, for your grace. Huluwadi clasped her fists and bowed. No need. As a heavenly fox, why are you here? Huang Rumung asked. Immortal, it's a long story, but it's all because of the divine turtle clan. I was caught by them. It seems that they want to reach some kind of agreement with the dragon race. Huluwadi said. Some kind of agreement? Huang Rumung frowned slightly. With the strength of the divine turtle clan, they don't need to rely on the dragon race, right? Huluwadi was slightly startled. This immortal actually knows so much about the matters of the demon clan. Impressive. Huluwadi's eyes were full of admiration. Yes, immortal, but they seem to be dealing with a demon immortal. Huluwadi said, dealing with a demon immortal? Is it the Mother Empress? Or other demon immortals? Isn't the divine turtle clan not involved in these disputes? The more she thought, the more confused Huang Rumung became. A wave of uneasiness welled up in her heart. This is a communication jade slip. Please help me pay attention to this matter. If there is any movement in the divine turtle clan, tell me immediately. After speaking, Huang Rumung threw a jade slip and handed it to Huluwadi. Yes, immortal, I promise to complete the task. Huluwadi took the jade slip and nodded heavily. After some thought, Huang Rumung took out a set of clothes that she had worn before from her spiritual space and handed it to Huluwadi. Take this, it might be of help to you. The instant Huluwadi took the clothes, boom! It was as though a bolt of lightning had struck his mind. Her body trembled involuntarily. This is a celestial artifact. I can't even see its grade. I'm afraid it's a medium-grade celestial artifact. With this robe, I have at least an 80% chance of passing the immortal tribulation. Could it be that the immortal divine that I was going to undergo a tribulation and gave it to me? Thinking of this, Huluwadi looked at Huang Rumung with gratitude and adoration flickering in his eyes. Thank you, immortal. In this life, my heavenly fox clan will follow your lead. Finished speaking, Huluwadi heavily kowtowed 3 times to Huang Rumung. Seeing this scene, Huang Rumung's expression changed indeterminately. He really wanted to expose his identity, but he couldn't. The demon ancestral mountain must have thought that he was dead. Only by hiding in the dark could he better control everything. All right, you go back first. If there is any news, report to me immediately. Huang Rumung said. Yes, immortal. Huluwadi clasped his fist and saluted, but did not leave. Do you have anything else? Huang Rumung asked. Immortal. Immortal. I still don't know your name. Huluwadi said. Just call me Godly Cunning Immortal. Huang Rumung said. Thank you, Godly Cunning Immortal. Huluwadi will leave. Huluwadi took out a piece of talisman paper and gently pinched it. Buzz. The sky shook up layers of ripples, and Huluwadi drilled into it and disappeared. When Huluwadi left, Huang Rumung took off the hairpin and scanned it with her divine sense. Supreme Madam, I am Fun Zhao. You can call me Little Fun. A voice came spontaneously from the hairpin. Heart Demon, did you just save me? Huang Rumung asked. Supreme Madam, this little one is no longer a demon. You should call me Heart Buddha. I saved you. But according to the request of the Supreme Being, the Supreme Being must have predicted that you would have this tribulation, so seal this little one in the hairpin. Fun Zhao said. Hearing these words, Huang Rumung nodded slightly, and her eyes were full of emotion. Young master, thank you. Then how did you break the infinite stillness? Huang Rumung asked. Replying to the madam's words, this little one has been with you for a few months, listening to the Supreme Being playing music with you every day, and the soul growth is extremely fast. Half a month ago, the Supreme Being sealed a crystal stone into the hairpin in the absolute beginning mind. Inside it, there was a remnant soul of a peerless demon. It just so happened that I swallowed it, and my soul was strengthened 10 times. In addition, madam, Your own soul is extremely strong, and you have borne more than 50% of the power of the primordial bell. Therefore, although this little one broke the infinite stillness, it is completely your credit. Fun Zhao said each sentence, and his mouth was full of flattering sounds. Okay, I know. Huang Rummy nodded and put the hairpin away. Later, she looked in the direction of the great demon mountain, and her face showed a trace of worry. Young master, if I give clothes to others, you won't drive me away, right? As long as you don't drive me away, I am willing to do anything for Rumung. Huang Ruming took out the immortal boat and walked into it. Then, the immortal boat shook up layers of ripples and disappeared. At the bottom of the sea, calm was restored. Under the primordial bell, Qing Fu poked out a head, looked at the 3 dragon commanders, and said in a low voice, "That bitch. Immortal left?" "My lord, he left long ago." "My lord, we are safe." Hearing this, Qing Fu waved his right hand and put away the primordial bell. He stepped out and walked into the palace. "Pass my order, let the Divine Turtle Clan have an audience." "Yes, my lord." A moment later, a man in green clothes came quickly with a few people. Behind each person, there was a turtle shell. "Greetings, Dragon Lord." Everyone knelt down together. "Rise." "Thank you, Dragon Lord. I already know about your matter. I can agree, but there must be a condition," Qing Fu said. Hearing this, the man in green clothes' eyes lit up. "Dragon Lord, please say it. Within a month, send 100,000 troops from your clan to gather here. Old Ancestor Xian Lao must be present," Qing Fu said. Hearing this, the man in green clothes' face changed. "Old Ancestor Xian Lao? This matter, I must go back and discuss with the chief." "No problem. Only 1 month." 1 month later, I will personally lead the army to attack the human clan and slaughter these ants. If I don't see old Ancestor Xian Lao with 100,000 troops, forget it," Qing Fu said. Yes, yes, Dragon Lord," the man in green clothes said. "Okay, you can leave." "Yes." After the man in green clothes and the others left, Qing Fu looked at a man in red clothes. "General Qi." "Master." The man in red clothes knelt down. "Go to the Blood Wolf Star on my behalf. Say that I am in danger, and ask Second Brother to send reinforcements," Qing Fu said. The man in red clothes' expression froze, his face full of bitterness. "My lord, there is no proof. I am afraid Second Young Master may not believe it. Take this." Qing Fu took out a pendant and handed it to the man in red clothes. "Go and come back quickly." "Yes." The man in red clothes put away the pendant and quickly left. Qing Fu sat on the chair, her eyes full of killing intent. "I don't care if you're a flower fairy or someone else. Little ants, how dare you trample on the dignity of the Dragon Clan? I will skin you, pull out your tendons, drink your blood. This time, not only will we slaughter the Tian Luo continent, we will also uproot the 9 immortals of the human clan. You are still too inexperienced to fight against the Dragon Clan." Qing Fu said each sentence, her face full of hatred. "How was the army of the Purple Sunstar?" Qing Fu asked. "My lord, the army has gathered 30,000 troops, but we lost nearly 2,000 today. Only 28,000 are left. There are still 50,000 troops on the way back. They will all be back in half a month." "So few people?" Qing Fu frowned slightly and said, "All dragons, regardless of gender, old or young, follow me to battle." Qing Fu shouted. "Yes, my lord." Chapter 209. Ding, blessing points plus 10. Hearing this inexplicable sound, Sun Hao's expression stagnated. He put down the hoe in his hand, his face full of doubt. Didn't he need to give something to get the blessing points? Was it hoeing the fields? Impossible. He had been hoeing for a whole day, but he didn't get anything. He looked up at the soul-sinking divine wood and sighed. Why hasn't it sprouted yet? Don't tell me they don't have the guts? That shouldn't be the case. There's such a large, empty space under the soul-immersing divine wood. It would look much better if I planted some flowers. I wonder where I can buy flowers. When Ruming comes back, I'll ask her and buy some plant. Sun Hao muttered to himself, keeping this matter in mind. Not long after, buzz, ripples appeared in the sky. An immortal boat appeared in the sky. Seeing the two words rushing thunder on the immortal boat, Sun Hao's eyes lit up. Rumung is back. Huang Rumung put away the ferry boat and slowly floated down in her snow-white robe. Young master, before the person arrived, the fragrance of immortals had already arrived. Huang Rumung walked over quickly and stood in front of Sun Hao. She crossed her hands and held them tightly, very nervous. Rumung, what's wrong? It's fine if you didn't get anything. Sun Hao stepped forward and asked. Young master, Huang Rumung stammered. Rumung, it's okay. Sun Hao said. Young master, I got it. But, Huang Rumung said. Then why are you so nervous? Did something happen? Sun Hao asked. Young master, I gave the clothes you gave me to someone else. I'm sorry. Please punish me. After saying that, Huang Rumung lowered her head with a terrified expression. Young master, I acted on my own accord. Young master, please don't drive me away. Seeing Sun Hao staring at her, Huang Rumung's heart was pounding, and she looked nervous. The young master is here. What should we do? What to do? The next second, Huang Rumung was stunned in place. A warm embrace gently hugged her. Rumung? Such a small matter. And you're talking about punishment? Am I that fierce? Sun Hao said. No, young master. You're not fierce at all. You're too good a Rumung. Huang Rumung said. That's right. In the future, no more punishment? Otherwise, I will be angry. Sun Hao said. Young master, you are so kind. Huang Rumung hugged Sun Hao tightly. After a long while, only then did the two separate. Right? Rumung, did you catch a loach today? Sun Hao asked. Young master, I got quite a lot. Go. The two of them came to the pond. Huang Rumung took out a fishing net and threw all the loaches into the pond. Hua! The pond was filled with darkness. Sun Hao saw this scene. His eyes lit up. This amount? At least 1,000? It was enough for a long time. So many loaches. Like a dream? Amazing. Sun Hao's eyes shone, looking at Huang Rumung. His eyes were filled with admiration. Immortal cultivators were different. Fishing up fish? They were all in one net. Although Rumeng didn't know how to fish, but when it came to catching fish, however, he was much stronger than him. Back then, when he cast a net, how could he do that? Only then did he manage to catch an eel. Young master, you flatter me. It's mainly because you weave a good net. Huang Rumung said. Hearing this, the corner of Sun Hao's mouth raised slightly. It was really comfortable for Rumung to speak. Such a big pond of loaches? It's enough for us to eat for half a month. Sun Hao's eyes shone. Rumung, let's make a loach meal today. Do you like steamed, braised, or boiled? Sun Hao said. Young master, I like them all. Huang Rumung said. Then let's braise it. After speaking, Sun Hao stretched out his hand, grabbed a loach, cut its belly with a knife, and squeezed out its intestines. Then, he threw it into the bowl. Such a scene frightened the Dragon Clan soldiers in the water, causing them to tremble in fear. Who is this mortal? How could he be so terrifying? Even that immortal is respectful to him. His identity must not be simple. Damn it, he dared to eat us as loaches, courting death. Look at my divine dragon tail. A golden dragon went straight to Sun Hao. In the next second, he was horrified to find that any means could not be used. One hand gently held it. No matter how he struggled, it was useless. Oh, this big golden loach is very good. Get directly into my hand. Okay, I'll eat you first. In the next second, the golden dragon found a sharp knife waving towards it. Sensing the momentum that tore everything, the golden dragon was scared out of his wits. No, the shouting stopped abruptly. The knife passed through, and the golden dragon instantly lost consciousness. Immediately afterward, its intestines were squeezed out. It was thrown into the bowl, motionless. Heavens, save us! If this goes on, it won't be long before I get eaten too. Seeing Sun Hao cut open the bellies of the dragons, the other dragon soldiers' hearts sank to hell, and they felt a chill. Soon after, nearly 100 silver dragons were dealt with. Then hot oil was burnt. That's immortal tea oil, my ancestor. That's immortal wood, and he even used immortal fire to cook us. Isn't it too much of a waste? This What is the identity of this mortal? Old ancestor. How could we provoke such an existence? A moment later, on the table, there were 3 dishes and 1 soup. A plate of braised loach was very dazzling. Sun Hao looked at the plate of loach and nodded with satisfaction. Rumung, come eat. Sun Hao gave Huang Rumung a few loaches. Young master, you eat too. The 2 of them took food from each other, looking like a young couple who respected each other. With 1 bite, a mouthful of crispness mixed with the fragrance of fish filled the entire mouth cavity. Fresh, salty, spicy, all kinds of flavors stimulated the taste buds. The taste was complex and rich. It was simply the best taste in the world. Rumung, how is it? Does it taste okay? Sun Hao asked. Young master, you cook so delicious. Huang Rumung nodded repeatedly. Looking at Huang Rumung's appearance of eating loach, Sun Hao nodded secretly. Now, there's meat to eat again. Miss Yiling and the others must like it, right? When you come over, I will make you a full banquet of loach. At that time, you must be greedy to death. Sun Hao muttered to himself with a smile on his face. After dinner, young master, are you eating today? Huang Rumung asked. Yes. Sun Hao nodded and took Huang Rumung for a stroll in the backyard. Rumung, under this soul-sinking divine wood, there's a large open space. I want to plant a garden here. What do you think? Sun Hao said. Okay, young master. Huang Rumung looked happy. Then do you know where there are flowers for sale in the Tianluo continent? Sun Hao asked. Flowers for sale? Huang Rumung frowned slightly and began to think. Then her eyes shone. Young master, if you want to talk about flowers, it is naturally the 100 Flowers Valley. There are many kinds of flowers there, and there is everything. 100 Flowers Valley? Sun Hao's eyes shone. Just listening to the name, he knew that there must be a lot of flowers there. This place he must go and see. Where is the 100 Flowers Valley? Sun Hao asked. Young master, the 100 Flowers Valley is in the southern region. Huang Rumung said. Okay, I will go to the 100 Flowers Valley tomorrow to buy some. Sun Hao said. Young master, this soul-sinking divine wood has not sprouted yet. It's okay, we will go for a day. Okay. P.S. The northern region's plot has been greatly changed, which may involve the later parts. It is recommended that everyone come to QQ Read. Chapter 210. The 100 Flowers Valley was located in the southern region, hundreds of thousands of kilometers away from the Great Demon Mountain. Inside the valley, it was spring all year round, a good place to cultivate flowers. Outside 100 Flowers Valley, because there were people buying and selling flowers all year round, a small city gradually formed, and it was called 100 Flower City. On this day, Sun Hao and Huang Rumung came to 100 Flower City. Looking at the streets on both sides, they couldn't help but frown slightly. There were very few people in 100 Flower City. Phew, a gust of wind blew past, and on the street, the withered branches were blown everywhere. It was a bleak scene. This was completely different from the legendary 100 Flower City. Is this 100 Flowers City? Why did it become like this? Sun Hao frowned slightly. He had wanted to buy some flowers in 100 Flower City to grow, but he was disappointed to come here. Young master, I don't know this either. Do you want to find someone to ask? Huang Rumung asked. All right. Sun Hao nodded and saw a tea house. Without thinking about it, he walked in. The tea house was a good place to gather information. What's wrong with the southern region? Strange things keep happening. As soon as he entered the tea house, he heard the voice of a storyteller. There were many people surrounding the storyteller. Sun Hao found a corner and sat up with Huang Rumung. What strange things have happened recently? Tell me. Yeah, don't keep us guessing. When the storyteller saw their anxious expressions, the corners of his lips curled up, and he slammed the table. I'm only asking you, have you had any nightmares recently? The storyteller asked. Hearing this, the crowd looked at each other in dismay. Their expressions kept changing. How did he know? Yes, I haven't been feeling well for the past few days. I can't sleep and often have nightmares. Me too. As the saying goes, a man who does not do anything shameful is not afraid of a ghost knocking on his door at midnight. I haven't done anything shameful, but I've been having nightmares lately. What's going on? The storyteller sighed. Actually, I'm the same as you guys. I've been having nightmares these days. Even if you don't sleep and keep meditating, you will sink into a nightmare. When you wake up the next day, you won't have any energy left. The storyteller said. Everyone nodded in agreement. Me too. How come you're just like me? You've been regressing instead of advancing in your cultivation. Is something big going to happen to this world? Everyone's faces were filled with worry. You're wrong. It's not that something big is going to happen. It's already happened. The storyteller said. What? Has it already happened? What happened? Let's not talk about other places first. Just the southern region alone has two major events. The first is the sudden death of the head of the Jiang family last night. As soon as these words came out, everyone stood rooted to the ground in disbelief. Hiss, the sound of people sucking in a breath of cold air, rose and fell. After a while, what? The head of the Jiang family was dead? How is this possible? The Jiang family's patriarch is a half-immortal. His methods are exceedingly high. It is said that the talismans he draws can connect heaven and earth and avoid ghosts and gods. How could he die? Seeing the puzzled looks on everyone's faces, the storyteller pretended to be mysterious. Do you know how the Jiang family's patriarch died? Everyone shook their heads in unison when they heard this. I'm sorry, I'm still hungry today. Please be generous. The storyteller cupped his fists slightly. As soon as these words came out, everyone waved their hands in unison. Cut it out. Do you think an immortal cultivator will starve? Talk if you want. That's right. It's not easy for us to do business now. The gate of 100 Flowers Valley is closed. We can't buy flowers. How can we make money? That's right. You don't know how to be considerate of us. We've been taking care of your business for so long. When it came to spirit stones, the onlookers dispersed. The storyteller sat there and smiled awkwardly. Sun Hao gave him a look. Huang Ruming stepped forward and directly took out 10 high-grade spirit stones. Immediately, the storyteller's eyes lit up, revealing uncontrollable surprise. Without thinking about it, he walked straight to Sun Hao and saluted respectfully. Thank you, young master. No need, go on, Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. The storyteller cupped his fists and said, Young master, in fact, the Jiang family's patriarch went to the secluded marsh half a month ago. As a result, after returning, he contracted a serious illness. It's only been half a month, and he died suddenly. Secluded marsh is a forbidden zone for life. Not to mention him, even immortals dare not enter. Hearing this, Sun Hao nodded secretly. What about the second thing? Sun Hao asked. Young master, the second big thing is the 100 Flowers Valley. 10 days ago, the 100 Flowers Valley was suddenly closed without any warning. This caused the 100 Flowers City, which relies on the 100 Flowers Valley to exist, to be instantly depressed. The storyteller said, Why are so many cultivators rushing to buy the flowers of the 100 Flowers Valley? Sun Hao asked. Young master, because the flowers of the 100 Flowers Valley are not only beautiful, but also have the effect of calming the mind, sleeping, driving away evil spirits, and avoiding harm. Some can even release spiritual energy and speed up cultivation. Each kind has different functions. In addition, many cultivators in the southern region often have nightmares at night recently. There are countless people who come to buy flowers. Now, although the 100 Flowers City is depressed, the outside of the 100 Flowers Valley is overcrowded. The storyteller was afraid that Sun Hao would not be satisfied and finished in one breath. Did they announce any reason? Sun Hao asked. No. The storyteller shook his head slightly. However, they are recruiting a master flower cultivator recently. Master flower cultivator? Sun Hao's eyes flashed with light. Yes, young master. However, their requirements are too difficult. It has been 5 days, and it seems that no one has passed. The storyteller said. Sun Hao nodded slightly. He had supreme planting skills. Not to mention flowers. Any plant would not grow obediently in his hands. By the way, has anyone investigated the reason for the nightmares? Sun Hao asked. No. Even the strongest Jiang family in the southern region has no clue. How can ordinary cultivators find a way? The storyteller shook his head for a while. Okay, thank you. Sun Hao cupped his fist and saluted, standing up directly. After understanding the general news, He would go directly to the 100 Flowers Valley now. Young master, do you want to go to the 100 Flowers Valley? Huang Ruming asked. Yes. Sun Hao nodded. Young master, I will fly you in. Huang Ruming said. No need. Sun Hao waved his hand slightly. We are here to buy flowers. If we break in like this, in case of a fight, we will hurt those flowers. Young master, if they don't sell, how can we buy? Huang Ruming wondered. Then join them. Sun Hao said. Young master, do you want to be a cultivator? Huang Ruming asked. Sun Hao nodded. Rumung, take me outside the 100 Flowers Valley. Yes, young master. The two soared into the sky, turned into an escape light, and instantly appeared outside the 100 Flowers Valley. Seeing the scene in front of him, Sun Hao couldn't help but frown. He saw that outside the 100 Flowers Valley, it was densely packed with people. Chapter 211. For the 100 Flowers Valley's trainer assessment, Sun Hao easily passed the first 2 levels. Now, there was only the last level left. Sun Hao's location was an assessment field shaped like a classroom, and others were not allowed to enter. He had to. He could only let Huang Rumung wait outside the assessment field. Be quiet. A principal in red stood on the stage and waved her hand gently. Below, everyone was quiet. Congratulations on successfully entering the 3rd round of the test. As long as you pass, you will be a trainer of my 100 Flowers Valley. You will enjoy the treatment of 1 immortal crystal every year. As soon as these words came out, except for Sun Hao, everyone was stunned in place. What? Immortal crystal? Is this a dream? No matter what, I must become a trainer of 100 Flowers Valley. Dozens of people's eyes were shining with excitement. When everyone was quiet, the principal continued to move. The principal waved her right hand, and more than 100 vases of flowers flew out from her hand, floating quietly in the air. You can choose any 3 vases of these flowers. As long as 1 is alive, you will pass. The time limit is only 1 hour, regardless of the method. Now let's start choosing. As soon as the words fell, everyone began to snatch. Each of them displayed their magical powers and collected the 3 vases of flowers with the greenest leaves in front of them. Seeing this scene, Sun Hao smiled bitterly and shook his head. It was not that he didn't want to snatch, but he didn't have the ability. He was still immortal. How could he compete with those cultivators? That kid is a hothead, indifferent. There is no power fluctuation in his body. He seems to be immortal. No way. A mortal also came to be a trainer. Is he here to be funny? A group of examinees locked their eyes on Sun Hao, smiling and shaking their heads. When the principal saw this scene, she also secretly shook her head. She waved her right hand. 3 vases of flowers floated on Sun Hao's table. The remaining 3 vases of flowers had withered, and only the roots were still a little green. Time starts. After the principal finished speaking, she walked out. Before leaving, her face was full of disappointment. I don't know why those guys ate. They even let mortals in. When this batch of assessment is over, I must report this matter to the elders. They have to be dealt with well. The principal muttered to herself, her pretty face full of anger. In the assessment room, rays of light flew out from everyone's hands and entered the flowers. After the spiritual power flowed into the flowers, the withered leaves turned green at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the blink of an eye, everything returned to normal. It looked verdant and glistening. Compared to the withered yellow from before, it was full of vitality. Seeing such a scene, Sun Hao smiled bitterly. This was simply like magic. It was too unbelievable. He could only use the most ordinary botany. Not cool at all. Sun Hao sighed secretly, looking at a bottle of dying flowers in front of him, holding a small triangular hoe. After loosening the soil, he put some fertilizer on it. Then he took out the spring water that he had prepared and started watering it. After 1 bottle was dealt with, he began to deal with the next bottle. Soon, the 3 bottles were processed. He sat where he was and waited quietly. After a while, the host quickly walked back and stood on the stage. He swept his gaze across the room and shook his head. Finally, she stared at Sun Hao, and her eyebrows wrinkled slightly. This kid, he's not moving. I think I've loosened the soil and watered it with water. With these mortal means, do you want to save these 3 moon spirit flowers? The host glanced at the moon spirit flower and shook his head after seeing that its withered leaves did not change at all. Time passed little by little. Soon, the assessment time was about to end. Those cultivators who used spiritual power to pour into the flowers lowered their heads one by one and sighed again and again. When each flower was first poured in, it was full of vitality. After a while, it would wither quickly, and there was no chance of rescue. This scene was like the last radiance of the setting sun. Not only did they not save the flowers, but they also killed all the flowers. Hey, it seems that no one passed. Let's disperse. The host shook his head for a while. The examiner also sighed and walked out. Just as the host was about to leave, a voice sounded. Wait! Everyone was attracted by such a sound. All eyes were fixed on Sun Hao. What does this kid want to do? I don't understand. Could it be that he saved one? Save a fart. All 3 are the same. The host frowned slightly and looked at Sun Hao. Young master, what can I do for you? I just want to ask, is it time for the assessment? If I remember correctly, there is still a quarter of an hour. Sun Hao said. As soon as these words came out, 3 black lines appeared on the host's forehead. A quarter of an hour? So what if I give you a quarter of an hour? Don't tell me you can save these 3 moon soul brasses? No way. Is there something wrong with this mortal's skull? How dare he say there is still a quarter of an hour? This is deliberately embarrassing the 100 Flowers Valley. If I were the host, I would definitely beat him up. Come on. He didn't violate the rules. He just said the truth. Everyone looked at Sun Hao with a teasing expression written all over their faces. Regarding these gazes, Sun Hao ignored them. He sat there calmly. The wind was light and the clouds were light. Young master, you are right. There is still a quarter of an hour. The host smiled slightly, walked back, and stood on the stage. The next second, she couldn't help but look sluggish. She took 5 steps and quickly walked to Sun Hao. The waves were turbulent, shaking up and down. She stared at the 3 bottles of moon spirit flower in front of Sun Hao, full of disbelief. She saw that the moon spirit flower grew buds at a speed visible to the naked eye, and the buds quickly turned into leaves. The whole process was like magic, extremely magical. Everyone looked at this scene, full of disbelief. God, it's alive, it's completely alive, and he didn't pour any spiritual power into it. How'd he do it? Incredible. I can't imagine that in this world, there is such a trainer, too powerful. This is not a moon spirit flower. This pattern is like a moon immortal flower. My ancestor actually evolved. Is he still a trainer? This is completely a grandmaster trainer. Even a grandmaster can't do it. My heart feels like it's going to stop. What a strong, immortal aura. I just take a deep breath, and it feels equivalent to cultivating for a month. Oh my God, this after swallowing this immortal aura, it can actually strengthen the soul. Such exclamations kept ringing out. The entire assessment room burst into an uproar. The host looked at the 3 moon spirit flowers, the moon immortal flowers, and his whole body trembled slightly with excitement. This is impossible. In this world, there is such a powerful trainer. This is unbelievable. How on earth did he cultivate it? Could it be that he secretly used a fake beam to replace the pillar? Thinking of this, the host secretly used his divine thoughts to scan the moon immortal flowers and suddenly stood dumbfounded in place. Yes, the mark I set up is still there, and I didn't replace it. In that case, isn't his training talent? The more he thought about it, the more the host couldn't suppress his inner shock. My 100 Flowers Valley is saved. I must tell this to the elders. At this point, the host took a few long breaths and looked at Sun Hao. Young master, please wait a moment. After speaking, the host quickly left. Chapter 2:12. Looking at the dumbfounded expressions of the crowd and hearing the exclamations of surprise around him, Zhang Xian's eyes lit up. Sun Hao frowned slightly, revealing a thoughtful look. Immortal Qi? What immortal Qi? Why didn't I feel it? Could it be that the plants I cultivate can produce immortal Qi? That was impossible, right? Why didn't he feel anything? That's right, I can't cultivate, so it's normal that I can't feel it. As cultivators, they can naturally sense it. If that's the case, the botany that the system taught me is actually this powerful? That's right, who asked this to be a peerless planning technique? No wonder. From time to time, cultivators would come to his residence. So it was the celestial power that attracted them. No wonder they admired and respected him so much. They must think that he was a big-shot cultivator. I didn't know I was this terrifying. If Supreme Botany could have such an ability, wouldn't the other skills be equally terrifying? Perhaps, when he forged iron, he could shatter the earth with a hammer. Next, he had to find an opportunity to conduct more experiments. If his destructive power was also so terrifying, then what blessing points could he collect? Sun Hao thought secretly. His heart felt like it was hit by a tsunami, and he couldn't calm down for a long time. Young master, I was disrespectful just now. Please don't take offense. A voice woke Sun Hao up. Raising his head, he saw dozens of cultivators surrounding him. Everyone's faces were filled with admiration. Young master, please forgive me for my bad mouth just now. Young master, please forgive me. Hearing these voices, Sun Hao raised the corner of his mouth and was in a good mood. So, this was what it felt like to act tough. How refreshing. Even though he was feeling good, he didn't show any signs of it on his face. Sun Hao slightly cupped his fists. Everyone is polite. Young master's breadth of mind is rarely seen in this world. We are ashamed of ourselves. Young master, can we cultivate here? After saying this, everyone quieted down and looked at Sun Hao expectantly. Whether it can be cultivated or not, you have to ask the 100 Flowers Valley. I can't make this decision, Sun Hao said. Does that mean you agree, young master? Go ahead. Many thanks, young master. After everyone bowed, they sat cross-legged on the ground and began to cultivate. Naturally, they would not let go of such a rare opportunity. One breath was equivalent to cultivating for a month. If he were to use his cultivation technique, his cultivation speed would increase tenfold. Just one breath was equivalent to a year of cultivation. What kind of place could have such a terrifying cultivation speed? Inside Huasien Valley, a girl dressed in purple and blue was chewing on a stalk of horsetail grass as she paced back and forth. Her brows were deeply furrowed and worry was written all over her face. This girl was called Hua Xilan, and she was the daughter of the 100 Flowers Valley's Valley Master. What should we do? What should we do? Mother's favorite orchid is dying. The array won't be able to hold it for long. Seeing Mother sad every day, I feel terrible. Hua Xilan secretly sighed. Phew! Suddenly, a red figure rushed over. Greetings, young mistress. After bowing, she quickly left. Stop! Hua Xilan shouted softly, and the red figure immediately stopped. This figure was the person in charge of the assessment. Miss! The manager's face was full of anxiety. Little Red, why are you in such a hurry? How do I usually teach you? Hua Xilan said, Miss, the situation is urgent. This concerns the survival of my 100 Flowers Valley. How can I not be anxious? If you offend, miss, please be magnanimous. The manager said, What is it? Speak. Hua Xilan said, Yes, miss. The manager made a long story short and explained what had just happened. What? He saved the 3 moon spirit flowers? And it even evolved into a moon immortal flower? Just taking a breath is equivalent to cultivating for a month. Moreover, it even increased one's talent? Little Red, when did you learn to lie? Hua Xilan stopped the manager. She had no intention of letting her leave. Miss, if I didn't see it with my own eyes, how would I dare to lie to you? For such a big matter, even if I had 10,000 guts, I wouldn't dare. The manager said, Even if the moon immortal flower has such an effect, what if he secretly changed it? Hua Xilan said, Miss, definitely not. I have planted a soul imprint on all 3 moon spirit flowers. The manager said. Hearing this, Hua Xilan secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Where is he now? Miss, he's in the examination room. The manager said. Take me there. Hua Xilan said. Miss, I want to report to the elders. The manager said. Is there a need to be in such a hurry? Wait for me to confirm it. I'll personally report to the Valley Master. Hua Xilan said. Yes, miss, please follow me. With that, the manager led the way while Hua Xilan followed closely behind. Is there really such a person in this world? Let's go take a look first. If he really has this level, he might be able to save Mother's orchid. At that time, Mother will definitely be very happy. Hua Xilan thought to herself and couldn't help but speed up a bit. A moment later, Miss, look. Hua Xilan walked into the examination room and looked around. She was immediately stunned. Huff! A wave of pure, immortal energy mixed with a faint fragrance of flowers went straight into his nose. A single sniff was enough to make one's entire body feel comfortable and refreshed. This immortal energy flowed through his meridians and throughout his body. At this moment, Hua Xilan felt so comfortable that she wanted to cry out loudly. My soul has been strengthened. Furthermore, this breath of mine is equivalent to cultivating for half a month. Although it's not as exaggerated as Little Red said, it's still incredible. There's actually such a strange man in this world. Hua Xilan muttered to herself, her face full of shock. It took her a long time to calm down. Hua Xilan walked straight to the stage and shook her head as she looked at the cultivators who were cultivating with their eyes closed. All of you get up. A soft shout startled the group of cultivators. In this assessment, other than this young master who passed, everyone else failed. All of you, leave Huaxian Valley immediately. Hearing these words, sigh. Waves of sighs kept ringing out. The cultivators stood up one by one and looked at Sun Hao with gratitude on their faces. Young master, we'll take our leave first. Young master, we'll repay your kindness next time. They walked forward one by one and bowed to Sun Hao. I'm fine. Sun Hao waved his hand slightly with a smile on his face. Just now, in such a short period of time, he had obtained nearly a few hundred blessing points. If it was a little longer, it wouldn't be a problem to obtain a few thousand points. After everyone left, Hua Xilan's gaze swept over Sun Hao. She frowned slightly, and a puzzled expression was written all over her face. The young master in front of her didn't seem to have any energy fluctuations. No matter how she looked, he looked like a mortal. How could a mortal evolve the moon spirit flower into the moon immortal grass? That was truly incredible. In that case, let's test it out. Hua Xilan thought to herself as she walked towards Sun Hao. Chapter 213. Hua Xilan's face was full of smiles as she walked forward and bowed. Zilon greets young master. Zilon, good name. Miss Xilan is welcome. Sun Hao said with a smile. Young master, Zilon has something I need your help with. Hua Xilan said. Miss, please say it. Sun Hao said. Young master, I have a purple spirit orchid here. It's about to die. Please save it. After saying that, Hua Xilan took out a pot of flowers and handed it to Sun Hao's table. How is this a potted flower? It was clearly a withered blade of grass. The roots of the purple spirit orchid were slightly green. It seemed to be struggling with an unyielding will. Young master, don't worry. I won't let you help for free. Regardless of whether you can save this purple spirit orchid or not, I will still give you one spiritual crystal. What do you think? Hua Xilan asked. There's no need for immortal crystals. If you can, just give me 2 bottles of flowers. Sun Hao said. This, Hua Xilan looked worried. Miss Zilon, if you think flowers are too expensive, I can pay more. Sun Hao said. Young master, you've misunderstood. It's not that Zilon doesn't want to give it to you. It's just that I don't have any flowers for you. Hua Xilan said. What? Sun Hao was shocked. Don't tell me your Huaxian Valley doesn't have it. Yes, young master. Hua Xilan sighed repeatedly. Otherwise, we wouldn't have closed the gates to the 100 Flowers Valley. I don't know what happened. A month ago, the flowers and plants we planted began to wither. At first, we didn't care. Up until now, 50% of the flowers and plants have died. Moreover, there are many peerless and solitary flowers. The remaining 50% are basically close to death. That's why the Fairy Valley is recruiting trainers. This violet spiritual orchid is my favorite. I didn't expect it to become like this. At this point, Hua Xilan let out a heavy sigh, her expression dispirited. Hearing this, Sun Hao nodded secretly. With his abilities, as long as they were not dead, he would be able to save them. Misty Lawn, it's fine. As long as they're not dead, I'll accept them all. Sun Hao said. Really? Hua Xilan's eyes were filled with a bright light. Thank you, young master. Please save it. All right. Sun Hao nodded, crushed all the dead leaves with his hands, and put them in the basin. Then, Sun Hao took out a small triangular hoe and began to dig the loose basin soil. This, Hua Xilan frowned slightly, her expression changing. All mortal methods? Wasn't it too ordinary? This could also save the violet spirit orchid? Suddenly, Hua Xilan raised her eyebrows, her face filled with surprise. That is? Spirit water? No, it's a mortal spring. This young master actually possesses such a precious treasure. Isn't he afraid that it will be robbed? Hua Xilan muttered to herself, her eyes burning. You want to snatch it? Give it a try. A voice reverberated in his mind. Although it wasn't loud, it was incomparably domineering. Ooh! Hua Xilan's expression changed slightly. She looked around, but did not see anyone. The young master cultivates with the body of a mortal. If you dare to point out the young master's Tao heart, your soul will definitely scatter. Another sound reverberated in his mind. Hearing this, Hua Xilan stood rooted to the ground. Cultivating with the body of a mortal? Why does it sound so familiar? Hua Xilan frowned in thought. Not long after, her pupils constricted and her face was filled with shock. Cultivating with the body of a mortal? Who else can there be in this world except the godly cunning immortal? This young master in front of me is the godly cunning immortal? My ancestor, my mother, the godly cunning immortal is in front of me, and I'm so stupid that I don't know him. I even doubt his ability. I'm a F***king idiot. Fortunately, the followers of the godly cunning immortal woke me up. Otherwise, I would have missed the great opportunity and the great fortune. Hua Xilan's body trembled slightly. She was so excited that her small mouth opened and didn't close for a long time. Her two big eyes were wide open, and her pretty face trembled slightly. As she breathed, her chest rose and fell violently, and her waves surged. She looked at Sun Hao. Worship, awe, admiration, all kinds of expressions were written all over her face. It took her a long time to calm down. The person in charge looked at the change in Hua Xilan's expression with a puzzled expression. Was it necessary? Those were all mortal methods. How could the mist be so excited? Both of their gazes finally fell on the violet spirit orchid. Sun Hao only took a few breaths to deal with it. Now he just needed to wait. Time passed little by little. Soon, it was half an hour. At this time, the violet spirit orchid grew a tender bud, and then it spread its branches and leaves and swelled rapidly. A quarter of an hour later, Hua Xilan's eyes widened, full of disbelief. This is the violet spirit orchid. It evolved. It really evolved. God, if I didn't see it with my own eyes, who would dare to believe it? It's incredible. The godly cunning immortal's methods are simply amazing and unimaginable. The godly cunning immortal who has been looking for him thousands of times is actually here. I, Hua Xilan, can actually stand in front of the godly cunning immortal. This is a blessing that can only be cultivated for thousands of years, right? Hua Xilan's heart was agitated again. Beside her, the person in charge was even worse than her. Oh my God, the mortal methods are so terrifying. This young master, I'm afraid his identity is extraordinary. The person in charge muttered to himself for a long time before calming down. Seeing the surprised look of the two, the corner of Sun Hao's mouth raised slightly. Look at how surprised you are. Miss Xilan, it's done. What do you think? Sun Hao's voice directly awakened Hua Xilan. Young master, thank you. Hua Xilan pounced towards Sun Hao, but before she could take 2 steps, a terrifying killing intent enveloped her entire body. At this moment, Hua Xilan's figure stagnated, and she hurriedly stopped. You're welcome, Sun Hao said with a smile. Young master, I have another presumptuous request. After Hua Xilan finished speaking, she lowered her head, not daring to look into Sun Hao's eyes. As soon as she finished speaking, Hua Xilan regretted it. In front of such a terrifying person, She actually dared to make a request. Did she not want to live anymore? However, this was the only chance to save her mother's orchid. Once in a lifetime. Miss, please speak, Sun Hao said with a smile. Young master, I have an orchid that is about to wither. Please help me. After saying that, Hua Xilan bowed. Sun Hao stood up and helped Hua Xilan up. Miss Xilan, there's no need to be polite. Take it out. Young master, it's not with me. Please follow me. All right. Walking out of the examination room, Sun Hao waved to Huang Rumeng. Young master. Huang Rumeng ran over quickly. May I ask who this is? Hua Xilan looked at Huang Rumeng with a puzzled expression. Miss, I am a young master's maid. Without waiting for Sun Hao to speak, Huang Rumeng spoke first. Both of you, please follow me. Hua Xilan led the way, leading the two of them left and right all the way, as if she was deliberately avoiding some guards. Sun Hao frowned slightly, his face full of doubt. Chapter 214. Not long after, the three of them entered a cave. Miss Xilan, why do you have to hide like this to save an orchid? Sun Hao asked. Hua Xilan sighed inwardly. Young master, you don't know. What we want to save is my mother's orchid. My mother is the Valley Master of Hundred Flowers Valley. She regards this orchid as her life. Ordinary people are not allowed to approach this cave. She wants to know that I brought young master here. I'm afraid she will never allow you to make a move. At this point, Hua Xilan sighed inwardly. This orchid is supported by the formation. Every day, dozens of elders take turns pouring immortal power into it. However, the formation can't stop the orchid from withering. These days, my mother has been exhausted, and she has aged thousands of years. At this point, Hua Xilan's expression dimmed as she lowered her head. Sun Hao nodded slightly when he heard this. So that's how it is. Hua Xilan was still a filial girl. Helping her was naturally no problem. It just so happened that he needed to do some experiments. Let's go, Miss Xilan, Sun Hao said. Young master, thank you. Please come in. Hua Xilan led the way, and the three of them walked inside. Not good. Suddenly, Hua Xilan's expression changed drastically as she quickly retreated. She brought Sun Hao and Huang Rumeng to hide behind a rock. Hide! Hua Xilan muttered something, and the three talismans instantly ignited. The three of them disappeared from where they were. Valley Master, are you all right? A voice came from inside the cave. Next, a middle-aged woman supported a white-haired old woman and walked out step by step. I'm fine, I'm just exhausted. The old woman waved her hand, indicating that she was fine. Suddenly, she stopped and looked at where Sun Hao and the other two were. She couldn't help but frown slightly. Huang Rumeng's idea moved, and 3 wisps of air enveloped the three of them. After the old woman took a look, she retracted her gaze and walked out. Mistress, what's wrong? It's nothing. It should be a lack of strength. Let's go. All right. When the two of them disappeared, Sun Hao and the other two gradually revealed themselves. Hua Xilan patted her chest, revealing a look of lingering fear. I was scared to death. I was almost discovered by Mother. That's not right. Mother shouldn't have released her immortal power at this time. Did something happen? Thinking of this, Hua Xilan's expression changed slightly. Without thinking, she ran in. Sun Hao and Huang Rumeng followed closely. After a while, the three of them arrived at a cave. The car's cave was not big, but it was very tidy. A barrier enveloped the central area, blocking everything. In the center of the barrier, there was a pond with a radius of several meters. Beside the pond, there was a square mound of earth with an orchid planted on it. Phew! Waves of immortal power flowed into the orchid from all directions. The orchids looked verdant and full of vitality. What should we do? Mother actually activated the formation. It's impossible for me to break it with my strength. Hua Xilan's face was filled with worry. At the moment when she was stunned, she found that Sun Hao had already walked to the barrier. Young master, just as he shouted this, Kacha! The barrier of the grand formation immediately shattered. Hua Xilan's eyes widened in disbelief. Breaking the formation with his physical body? Young master's strength is too terrifying, right? The rumors are indeed true. Amazing. Hua Xilan looked at Sun Hao with a face full of admiration. Sun Hao was unaware of everything behind him. At this moment, he stood in front of the orchid and frowned slightly. It looks verdant, but its roots are already rotten. It probably won't be able to hold on for long. Let it take root first, then water and fertilize it. After some thought, Sun Hao had a plan. First, he took out a hoe and dug a few holes around the orchid. He took out rooting powder and poured it into the holes. Then, he buried it with soil. This movement had just been completed. The orchid instantly withered and turned yellow. Not even half a green leaf existed. Sun Hao completely ignored this scene. Then, he took out the fertilizer, poured it into the soil, poured half a bottle of spring water, and stood up. Hua Xilan stood in place, looking at the withered orchid, completely dumbfounded. 2 lines of tears unconsciously flowed from the corner of his eyes. It's over, it's over. The orchid is dead. Mother will definitely be overly sad when she sees it. What should I do? Hua Xilan stood in place with a conflicted expression. Who is it? A loud shout woke Hua Xilan up. He saw a white-haired old woman leading dozens of elders hurriedly walking over. This white-haired old woman was Hua Xilan's mother, Hua Tong. Each of their faces were filled with anger. He stared at Sun Hao and Huang Rumeng, as if he wanted to swallow them whole. Mother, it's me. It's none of young master's business. Hua Xilan stood out and blocked in front of Hua Tong. You? Hua Tong looked at Hua Xilan, the corner of her mouth twitching and her entire body trembling in anger. Unfilial son, do you know what sin you have committed? Hua Tong pointed at Hua Xilan, her fingers trembling. She staggered and almost fell to the ground. Mistress. The group of elders helped Hua Tong up, their faces full of worry. Mother. Hua Xilan's tears fell as she held on to Hua Tong. Mother, are you all right? Then Hua Xilan whispered into Hua Tong's ear, Mother, that young master is, before she could finish. Don't call me mother. Hua Tong interrupted Hua Xilan. Do you know that you have caused a huge disaster? Hua Tong pointed at Hua Xilan, her expression excited and her voice trembling. Tie her up. Hua Tong shouted softly, and a few female leaders pounced forward. With a series of actions, they tied Hua Xilan up. Mother! Ugh! Hua Tong pointed with her right hand, and Hua Xilan was instantly sealed, unable to use any methods. She couldn't even spit out a single word. Hua Tong turned around and led dozens of elders towards Sun Hao step by step. The killing intent in his eyes was not concealed at all. Hua Tong stood in front of Sun Hao and looked at him coldly. Since Hua Xilan brought you here, I shouldn't blame you. My daughter is reckless and will be punished by the family law. However, why did the two of you come to my Huaxian Valley? What is your purpose? Hua Tong looked at Sun Hao and Hua Xilan, her ice-cold, killing intent surging. You, Huang Rumeng was about to speak, but Sun Hao waved his hand to stop her. Mistress, our purpose is very simple. We are here to buy flowers. Miss Xilan is a filial girl. She is worried about her mother and wants to share some of her burden. I was very touched when I heard that. So, I accepted Miss Xilan's invitation to help her save Orchid. Sun Hao's expression was calm, and his actions were full of elegance. Since the other party didn't come up to use force, he naturally wouldn't either. Otherwise, the palace master had probably been reduced to ashes. Ha! Hua Tong looked up to the sky and laughed loudly. Her voice was filled with grief. Save Orchid? What kind of orchid did you save? Orchid has been... Before she finished speaking, Hua Tong stood in place, motionless. She opened her mouth wide and trembled up and down, unable to say a word for a long time. The entire field instantly quietened down. Everyone's face was filled with shock. Chapter 2:15. What? Everyone stared at the center of the karst cave, dumbfounded, unable to react for a long time. That kind of shock, that kind of disbelief, that excitement. It was written all over everyone's face. The withered immortal orchid sprouted at a speed visible to the naked eye, turning into branches and leaves. Every leaf that spread out was like a bolt of lightning, exploding above everyone's head. Alive? He's really alive. Now, without the support of the formation, it's actually growing so well. This is unbelievable. Could it be that all of this is because of that young master? Hua Tong and the elders all stared at Sun Hao. Gratitude, admiration, shame, all kinds of expressions flashed across their faces. In the end, they all turned fiery hot. Hua Tong was about to step forward. At this moment, the young master is currently cultivating with the body of a mortal. You cannot break the young master's Tao heart. Otherwise die. A voice, mixed with the pressure of an immortal, directly hit his mind. At this moment, Hua Tong's pupils shrunk and her expression changed drastically. Cultivating with the body of a mortal, who else in this world but the godly cunning immortal? Unexpectedly, the young master in front of him turned out to be the godly, cunning immortal. Just now, he actually wanted to attack the young master. Did he not want to live anymore, or did he have too long to live? The more he lived, the more useless he became. By the way, that girl must know that the young master is the godly, cunning immortal. Why didn't he say anything? You almost caused the death of the 100 Flowers Valley. Thinking so, Hua Tong looked at Hua Xilan. The expression on his face was self-evident. Woo-woo, Hua Xilan whimpered. Her expression seemed to be saying, "My mother, you didn't even give me a chance to say it." Withdrawing her gaze, Hua Tong straightened her clothes and walked towards Sun Hao step by step. He came to Sun Hao and bowed 90 degrees. "Thank you, young master. If I have offended you just now, please be magnanimous and forgive me." Hua Tong said, "Young master, please forgive us." The group of elders knelt down and prostrated themselves on the ground. "It's okay. If I were you, I would be the same as you. Get up." Sun Hao said, "Many thanks, young master." Everyone stood up in turn and stood respectfully in front of Sun Hao. Woo-woo. Hua Xilan ran forward and whimpered. Hua Tong pointed with his right hand and released the restrictions on Hua Xilan's body. "Mother, you tied me up without distinguishing between right and wrong." Hua Xilan pouted and said, "Mother was wrong, I'm sorry." "All right, mother, young master has helped us so much. Could it be that we're going to let young master help us?" Hua Xilan said. As soon as these words came out, Hua Tong patted her forehead and grabbed with her right hand. She took out a package from her soul space and presented it respectfully in front of Sun Hao. "Young master, my Huasian Valley will never forget your great kindness. Please accept this gift." Hua Tong said, "Palace master is polite. You should give me a few flowers." Sun Hao said. This, Hua Tong was stunned. Her face was filled with worry. "Palace master, as long as they're not dead, I want them all." Sun Hao said, "Young master, how can you do this?" Hua Tong was ashamed. "Palace master, it's okay. Just give me a few later," Sun Hao said with a smile. Hearing this, Hua Tong was moved to tears. It seemed like the young master had only saved one orchid, but to the entire Huasian Valley, it was a kind of luck. Such a great kindness, it was really impossible to repay. The young master only needed a few flowers. This mind and magnanimity were unparalleled in the world. The godly cunning immortal, his reputation was well-deserved. Hua Tong looked at Sun Hao with extreme admiration. The corner of Sun Hao's mouth raised slightly. Next, he must do some experiments. He looked back at Huang Rumeng. "Rumeng, why don't we play a song?" "Yes, young master." Huang Rumeng waved her right hand, and the two ancient zither slowly landed on the ground. Sun Hao sat down and raised the corner of his mouth. Plants also like to listen to music. Afterward, he and Huang Rumeng looked at each other and moved at the same time. Ding! Zheng! The sound of the zither vibrated out. The scene in front of everyone changed rapidly. Small spring, running water, ancient trees, people. The blue waves rippled and sparkled. The beautiful mountains and rivers were like a beautiful picture scroll presented in front of everyone's eyes. Everyone stood where they were, motionless. Everyone's state of mind was improving rapidly. Next to the pool, the leaves of the immortal orchid trembled wildly as if they were dancing. Purple orchids grew quickly, exuding fragrance. The two people played the zither in unison, centered on the catacombs, spreading around from the ground and resounding throughout Huasian Valley. At this moment, those flowers that were originally withered quickly sprouted. They followed the rhythm of the zither and jumped slightly. They twisted their bodies like graceful dancers. In Huasian Valley, no matter who it was, no matter what they were doing, they were all frozen in place at this moment, motionless. The corners of their mouths were raised, and their faces were full of joy. Ooh! All the flowers grew rapidly under the nourishment of the zither. Immediately afterward, it was evolution. Mortal rank flowers directly evolved into spirit flowers, and spirit flowers evolved into immortal flowers. Waves of immortal chi and spiritual power spurted out from the flowers, covering all directions. Even if the people of Huasian Valley didn't move, their strength was soaring at this moment. After a while, the sound of the zither stopped. Sun Hao turned his head and looked at Huang Rumang with a face full of surprise. This girl, playing the zither, went a step further, getting closer and closer to himself. Huang Rumang sat in place at the moment, staring blankly at the ancient zither in front of her. Just now, after playing a song with the young master, her zither Tao broke through again, reached the peak realm. In other words, she was now a profound immortal on the zither Tao. She reached the peak realm one step earlier than her own destruction Tao. Thank you, young master. Huang Rumang turned her head and looked at Sun Hao. Their eyes met, and everything was in silence. Taking back the ancient zither, Sun Hao looked at the immortal orchid, his face full of light. Sure enough, my zither music is also extremely extraordinary, and it can actually make the immortal orchid grow a lot. Although I'm immortal and can't see through it, the immortal orchid is indeed bigger. The branches and leaves are denser, and the flowers are more beautiful. Fuck! Sun Hao couldn't help but burst out a swear word. He looked at Hua Tong and the others, surprised. He saw that they were still sitting cross-legged with their eyes closed, a look of cultivation. The original old appearance completely disappeared. They looked like beautiful girls, full of vitality. Looking at their appearance, they were still intoxicated in their own zither music, intoxicated. My zither skills actually have a beauty effect. It's incredible. Moreover, even immortal cultivators will be intoxicated. I didn't expect me to be so awesome. Do you want to go to an immortal city and play a song? No, absolutely not. The tree that stands out in the forest will be broken by the wind. It was fun to show off for a while, but it would be a tragedy if he overdid it. If he was caught by some big shot and turned into a dedicated zither player, wouldn't he find a place to cry to death? Before he could cultivate, he must keep a low profile. Surviving was the king's way. Who? Suddenly, a bright light lit up, illuminating the entire cave.